Good morning. It's now 5 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We've got 57 degrees right now, fair skies, and we're headed to 78 later. We'll catch up with the forecast and traffic in just a minute. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation issuing an endangered child alert for a couple of Nashville boys. They are a 1-year-old and a 3-month-old. Those boys are believed to be with their non-custodial mother, 39-year-old Sarah Myers, and they're believed to be traveling in a 1997 cream-colored Lincoln Town Car with a Tennessee tag BDL 2290. Anyone with information is asked to call police. The search for the man wanted in the hit-and-run crash that killed a 10-year-old girl who had been riding a scooter with her mother shifts now to Honduras. Police met with the suspect's nephew yesterday, 29-year-old Orlan Areta Zuniga, telling them that he helped his uncle, Denarius Zuniga, to get across the border with Mexico so he could go back to his home country of Honduras. Police have charged that nephew now. The girl's mother, Laura Ramirez Gonzalez, remains in stable condition at Vanderbilt. More trouble for Boeing. 33,000 workers who are on strike now rejecting a new contract offer. The news comes just as Boeing announced a $6 billion loss in the third quarter.
By 64%, Boeing's workers voted no to the latest contract offer. It would have come with a 35% pay raise, but it did not include the return of their pensions, which went away a decade ago. The workers are adamant they must get their traditional pensions back or no deal. Boeing has indicated that will never happen, especially in 2024 when few companies still have pensions, let alone bring them back. So for now, the 737, 767, and 777 factories remain shut down, and the strike goes on today. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Here's Dave Packer.
Disappointing earnings weighing heavily on stocks Wednesday. Boeing reporting its biggest quarterly loss since the pandemic. Shares of McDonald's falling about 5% after an announcement from the CDC that its hamburgers are linked to a fatal E. coli outbreak. And shares of tech giant NVIDIA weighing on the tech space, the chipmaker confirming a design flaw in its Blackwell AI chips. Shipments will be delayed. As the negatives piled up, the major indexes experiencing their worst sell-off in a month and a half. The Dow losing 409 points, now down 2% from its record high. The Nasdaq down 296 points. The S&P 500 fell below 54 points. Sales of existing homes slowing in September to their weakest annual pace in nearly 14 years. They're on track for their worst year since 1995. Sales fell 1% last month from August, says the National Association of Realtors. Higher mortgage rates keeping buyers on the sidelines, although rates have eased a bit and the supply of properties on the market continues to climb.
Futures this morning mixed. The Dow futures down 50, but Nasdaq futures are up 148. S&P futures are plus 23 points. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Really no big problems this morning on the road. We just have that one area where there's construction. It's the 40 South Loop westbound ramp to 210B. You can only use the left lane. The right lane blocked off, and that'll cause some slowdown. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Information fueled,
opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
5:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Headline from CNN, Kamala Harris is going to deliver a speech at the site of Trump's January 6th rally. I think that's going to be next week. You know, it's so interesting. Got an audio bite here that I think pretty much defines where America is this morning.
I don't understand how we got so toxic and just so divided.
That is that is Barack Obama a couple of days ago saying, I don't understand how we ended up so toxic and so divided. Really, Barack? Because Kamala Harris is out there. She had this big, long speech, this diatribe yesterday calling Donald Trump Hitler and a fascist. So, yeah, I don't know how we got so toxic and so divided. Maybe it's because your party, Barack Obama, decided to work hand in hand with the Atlantic. And they come out, this whole thing, like I said yesterday, this whole thing is really coordinated, where you had the Atlantic work with the Democrats, work with Kamala Harris, and come out with this article accusing Donald Trump of a racial slur, accusing Donald Trump of insulting a murdered Army private, and accusing Donald Trump of praising Adolf Hitler. And then that, of course, gives the opportunity for Kamala Harris to come out and say crap like this.
So yesterday we learned that Donald Trump's former chief of staff, John Kelly, a retired four-star general, confirmed that while Donald Trump was president, he said he wanted generals like Adolf Hitler had. Donald Trump said that because he does not want a military that is loyal to the United States Constitution. He wants a military that is loyal to him. He wants a military who will be loyal to him personally.
Right.
One that will obey his orders even when he tells them to break the law or abandon their oath to the Constitution of the United States.
Can somebody please tell me where did Donald Trump say that? Where did he ever say that? He hasn't.
I don't understand how we got so toxic and just so divided.
I don't know how the hell it happened that we got so toxic and so divided. Can you folks figure it out? Can you folks point out to a point in time where we became, as Barack Obama says, so toxic and so divided? Kamala Harris goes out, and the networks, as you know, we covered this extensively yesterday. The networks go out, and they cover this speech by Kamala Harris. All of this, it's almost like, as I think I said this the other day, it's almost like places, everybody, places. Okay, Atlantic, you're ready with the article? Okay, you're ready with the article accusing Donald Trump of racial slurs and insulting soldiers and praising Adolf Hitler? Okay, you're ready, Kamala? Are you ready? All right, everybody, let's go. And now this is where we are, where the media just obsessing over this whole thing of John Kelly, a Donald Trump hater through and through. Enter John Bolton, who is doing the same thing. Again, places everybody, and everybody plays their part. Because what the Atlantic did was they gave Kamala Harris a fresh reason to call Donald Trump a fascist, and called Donald Trump Hitler. She has absolutely no proof. Where is the proof of this effort by Donald Trump to utilize the military for his own grievances? There is none. This is a coordinated effort between the Democrats, Kamala Harris, The Atlantic. It's like, okay, The Atlantic is going to write the piece, then you can go out and you can comment on it. She has zero evidence that Donald Trump wants to use the military against U.S. citizens. It is just silly. Now, what he has said is that he wants to use the military for border protection, to tamp down violent protests, and maybe to use the military for mass deportations. And you know what? If once great American cities are burning to the ground, yeah, maybe we should use the military. Maybe we should use the National Guard. Remember during the Summer of Love when after George Floyd was killed? He had billions and billions and billions of dollars in damages. And so this whole thing is just absolutely insane. And this is what it is. I mean, this is a cheap trick by the Democrats because they've got nothing else. And as we keep saying, all of this seems to be a sign of desperation.
In just the past week, Donald Trump has repeatedly called his fellow Americans the enemy from within, and even said that he would use the United States military to go after American citizens. And let's be clear about who he considers to be the enemy from within.
It's Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff. Now, that's what he said. He said that on Fox News. Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff. And can I tell you, I don't disagree with Donald Trump on that. I don't. For reasons I'll explain. But let's see what Lion Kamala Harris has to say.
Anyone who refuses to bend a knee or dares to criticize him would qualify, in his mind, as the enemy within.
I mean, where does she get this? I mean, I get this is, political trickery, and this is sort of the October surprise. But my God, how do they get up in the morning and look in the mirror? Well, they're Democrats. I mean, this is what they do. They've been doing this for, 8 years now, ever since Donald Trump came down the escalator. They do this.
Like judges, like journalists, like nonpartisan election officials. It is deeply troubling and incredibly dangerous that Donald Trump would invoke Adolf Hitler, the man who is responsible for the deaths of 6 million Jews.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know whether to scream in anger or just laugh. You know what I mean? Because on the one hand, everybody knows that she's lying, that listens to this radio station. If you're not an ignorant hate listener, then you know that she's lying. I mean, Johnny heard me before the show. I'm screaming in here like, are you kidding me? You're really going with this.
And hundreds of thousands of Americans.
I mean, it's kind of funny because you look at the history of Donald Trump and how he has been so incredibly pro-Israel. And it's like he's the worst fascist ever. He's the worst Hitler impersonator ever because he has been so incredibly pro-Israel. And so the facts fly in the face of all of these accusations. I don't care what John Bolton says. I don't care what John Kelly says. I sure as hell don't care what The Atlantic says. And I really don't care what Kamala Harris says. My worry is that other people do, and other people will. But it is just stunning.
I don't understand how we got so toxic and just so divided.
I don't know. I don't know how we got so toxic and so divided. I don't know. I don't know how it happened. Maybe some more audio from Kamala Harris will remind us of why it is and how we became so toxic and so divided. But first, we've got to check the traffic. 5:15 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, gotta watch it in Murfreesboro and Franklin on 24, the eastbound lanes, Old Fort Parkway. That's exit 78. all the way through Joe B. Jackson, exit 84. It's that paving project. They've only got one lane open. Again, this is the eastbound lanes of 24. So coming out of the city, Old Fort Parkway to Joe B. Jackson, they're paving there, and they won't pick that up for a little while. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you very much. As far as your weather today, sunny and a high of 78. Right now, 57 degrees at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I don't know how we got so toxic. I don't know how we got so divided.
All of this is further evidence for the American people of who Donald Trump really is. This is a window into who Donald Trump really is. From the people who know him best, from the people who worked with him side by side in the Oval Office and in the Situation Room.
You know what I wish? I wish that the Republicans would go find some of the people that fled Vice President Kamala Harris's staff when she first started there in the Biden White House. Remember that whole story where she was just, people hated working with her, and the stories that came out and continue, by the way, to come out about how difficult she is to work with, about how she is just a very difficult to work with.
I bet they had non-disclosures they had to sign.
Well, I'm sure John Kelly did too. I'm sure John Bolton did too. But you're right. I wish the Republicans would just go out and find those people.
Yeah.
Because part of what they're doing, and Joan, you know all about this and your time in Washington, D.C., part of what they're doing is they're taking comments that Donald Trump has made and they're blowing them up into their own definitions and their own meaning. When Donald Trump says, because he was literally and specifically asked, who is the enemy within? He specifically said, Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi. And the reason why is because Adam Schiff, as part of that committee going after Donald Trump and Russian collusion, said over and over and over again that he saw evidence that Donald Trump colluded with the Russians. There was no evidence. Even the Inspector General said that Adam Schiff lied. The House Republicans, they censured Adam Schiff because he consistently lied. And what about Nancy Pelosi? Is Nancy Pelosi an enemy within? I would say yeah. Nancy Pelosi and other Democrats led the effort to destroy Donald Trump's first term in office with accusations of Russian collusion and 2 different impeachment attempts. She worked really hard to destroy the presidency of a duly elected president of the United States. That's what they did. That's what Nancy Pelosi did. That's what Adam Schiff did. That's what the media did. They worked hard to do everything they could to destroy Donald Trump's presidency, a duly elected president of the United States. So yeah, I do believe that Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff and members of the media that partook in all of this, I do believe that they are the enemy from within. They are the real insurrectionists, as a matter of fact. Here's more from Kamala Harris.
And it is clear from John Kelly's words that Donald Trump is someone who, I quote, certainly falls into the general definition of fascists, who in fact vowed to be a dictator on day one.
I mean, that dictator on day one bit, he said he was going to use executive orders. That's what he was referring to. You see what I'm saying here? Where they place their own meaning, they place their own interpretation of what Donald Trump says to make it fit their narrative that he's somehow Hitler, that he's somehow a dictator. It is so ridiculous. You know who's used more executive orders than anybody? Joe Biden. If there's anybody who's a dictator, it's Joe Biden. Trump said he was going to use executive orders on day one, just like every single president out there. That's what he meant. She is lying. And so the Atlantic and Jeffrey Goldberg, they write the article. John Kelly and the New York Times, all of these different entities and people, they get together along with other former Trump officials, again, like John Bolton, and they get together and they talk about how bad he is. It's all orchestrated, and this anti-Trump movement from people who used to work in his administration, it's like a cottage industry. Because John Kelly, I'm sorry, but the man is not relevant. John Bolton is not relevant. The only relevance they have, the only reason anybody pays attention to them is so that they can say that Donald Trump is a fascist. That's it. Cringe Jean-Pierre was asked about all this, and here's what she said.
And to be praising Adolf Hitler is dangerous, and it's also disgusting.
So just to be clear, when you said we do agree, President Biden believes that Donald Trump is a fascist.
I mean, yes, he said himself. The former president has said he is going to be a dictator on day one. Oh. We cannot ignore that. We cannot. And we cannot ignore or forget what happened on January 6th.
So there you go. I got to tell you.
I don't understand how we got so toxic and just so divided.
I don't know. How about maybe lying to the American people about your political opponent? How about maybe going after your political opponent with lawfare through the Department of Justice and attorneys general across America, district attorneys across America? Maybe that's how we became so divided, Barack Obama. By the way, that little audio bite, if you check my social media, my X feed, at Dan Mandis Show, you'll see that is part of a post where you got Obama the other day. I don't know how we became so divided, so toxic. And then they come up with 3 minutes of Barack Obama during his presidency being just absolutely nasty to the Republicans. And it probably could have been an hour long, maybe 2 hours long, if they really wanted to. But they did make the point where he did. He called the Republicans all kinds of names. He accused them of doing all kinds of nefarious things as well. And listen, I understand that that's politics in Washington, D.C. I get it. But don't sit here and say, I don't know how we became so divided. I don't know how we became so toxic. Well, you're ignoring your own part in all of this, Obama. You're ignoring Kamala Harris's part in all of this as well. You're ignoring Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff. It's like, they burned down the house and then they wonder, well, I don't know why the house got burned down. That's basically what Barack Obama and Kamala Harris and all the rest of these folks are doing by calling Donald Trump a fascist when, in my opinion, if you look at the facts, it's actually the other side. It's the Democrats are the ones that are acting like fascists. Anyway, 5:23. On Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7, Joan Jones is here. Jones, what's coming up in the news?
Well, shots fired inside a local Target store. Also, police are working to get to the bottom of a crash that killed a teenager in Murfreesboro. Those stories coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. And 5:23, Dan Mandis here for Window Nation. This is my window company. I love these folks. They put new windows in my basement studio, my bedroom, and my kitchen as well. Now, right now, it is prime window buying time because the weather is about to turn really cold. So if your windows are going to allow the warm air out and the cold air in this winter, you need to act right now. And Window Nation is looking out for you with a great special going on right now. You buy 2 windows, you're going to get 2 free. Plus, pay nothing with no interest for 2 full years. That is a great deal from my friends at Window Nation. Now, they've got over 33,000 5-star reviews on Google. A big 5-star review from my house. Your new windows can be installed in a day or less. And yes, they do come with a lifetime warranty. This is a great window company. And if you're even thinking about getting new windows, call my friends at Window Nation, 866-90-NATION, 866-90-NATION. Don't forget that great deal. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free. Plus, pay nothing with no interest for 2 full years. Again, a terrific opportunity to get new windows at a great price from Window Nation. Find them online, windownation.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly. who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
Hey everybody, Dan Mandis with Nashville's Morning News and Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I was speaking to Dr. Christopher Van Shank the other day at a station event. Now, he's a psychiatrist, and he was telling me about the mental health crisis here in America. And as you know, it's out of control. The COVID lockdowns were an absolute disaster. And Dr. Van Shank, again, he's a psychiatrist. And if you're one of those people, you feel like maybe you need to talk to somebody, I would recommend Dr. Christopher Van Shank. He can help you with addictions, depression, anxiety. He can also help kids with the same thing. He's been doing this for 15 years. He's been helping people, and he is here for you today. So if you want to check out his website is nolensvillepsychiatry.com. That's nolensvillepsychiatry.com. There's a whole list of issues that he can help you with. So check him out. If you feel like he can help you, give him a call. The number is below, and good luck.
Good morning. It's now 5:30. I'm Joan Jones with the latest top stories. We've got your forecast and traffic coming up in just a couple of moments. Spring Hill police have been able to identify the woman who reportedly fired at least one shot inside a Target store last night after two women got into a verbal altercation in that store. Police say it happened in the Halloween section of the store. Lieutenant Michael Foster speaking to Channel 4.
I would imagine it was pretty unnerving. We don't see much violent crime here, especially random violent crime. So whenever it does happen, it is a shock to the community. We're glad that nobody is hurt.
Surveillance photo of the shooter was released, and Spring Hill police say that someone identifying as that woman called them, and she is now cooperating with police. Murfreesboro police are trying to determine what caused a crash that killed a 14-year-old and injured three other people on Tuesday morning. Channel 4's Lydia Fielder has the latest.
This is at the intersection of Veterans Parkway and Kingdom Drive. Police say three teenagers, two 14-year-olds and a 16-year-old driver in a sedan, collided with a 47-year-old driving an SUV. They say the SUV driver was trying to turn left onto Veterans Parkway, right into the path of the sedan. Those cars collided. Both were badly damaged. The teens are Blackman High School students, Murfreesboro police say, and were coming back to school after going to that state volleyball tournament at Rockvale High School. The 16-year-old driver, 14-year-old backseat passenger, and SUV driver were all taken to the hospital. They are expected to survive their injuries.
But the other 14-year-old who was in the front passenger seat did not survive, and police are trying to determine if excessive speed played a role. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Dow futures are down 40, but the NASDAQ futures gaining 170. S&P futures are up 27 points. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 5:33 on WTN. Dan Mandis here. You know, every night at about 4 or 5 o'clock, I thank the Lord for Xfinity Internet, because here at school time, I've got to help Riker with his homework. I've also got to do show prep. I mean, you name it, pretty much everything that we do is online. And in my house, we can stay connected with Wi-Fi coverage that delivers the speed we need, and you can too. Now, homework and radio shows, they don't wait for the internet to work. You need a reliable connection, even when everyone is online and working. I rely on Xfinity. Now, if there are issues, Xfinity does have 24/7 customer service here for you whenever you need it with in-home Wi-Fi support. And if you're on the go, you can stay connected with over 20 million secure Xfinity Wi-Fi hotspots nationwide. So get the best Wi-Fi for your life, whether it's doing homework with the kids or work for the paycheck. Rock-solid internet is only a phone call away with Xfinity. To get started, call 1-800-XFINITY. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. 1-800-XFINITY, online, xfinity.com, or drop into an Xfinity store today for more details.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Looks like the paving construction that's on 24 eastbound is going a little bit later this morning. So there's only one lane open on 24 eastbound lanes between Old Fort Parkway and Joe B. Jackson. That's 78 and 84 while they continue that paving project. Again, it's eastbound 24, exit Old Fort Parkway and Joe B. Jackson. They've only got one lane available to traffic. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
.538. Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. How's it going in there, Johnny? Listen.
The synapses didn't fire.
No, it didn't.
There's no problem with a little dramatic pause.
No, there's not.
Except in radio.
Yeah.
By the way, I didn't know this, but did you guys know that today is a day that is, in honor of Kamala Harris and Barack Obama? Did you know that?
I did not know that.
I think every day is that day, isn't it?
Well, it is if you're in the media.
Yeah.
Yeah,
or if you have to live with them.
Today is National Jerk Day.
Oh.
Woo.
It is. Today is National Jerk Day,
I
and
know
I
a few of them.
immediately thought of Kamala Harris and Barack Obama, among many others.
Yes, there's a cast of thousands.
Now, just so we're clear, it's actually Jamaican Jerk Day.
Oh, I think that's a little different, right?
Yeah, it is.
Well, it is, but I chose, to take the news story and just kind of make it my own, like the Democrats do with Donald Trump.
Yeah, that's true.
So I just chose to remove the Jamaican and make it
Jerk Day.
How come when the media does the story, the Donald Trump is a
fascist and Hitler?
Fascist, and he's going to use weapons against him. How come the media doesn't tell that story without saying, or with saying, without evidence?
Because they're dumb.
They did it. They do it every time Donald Trump opens his mouth and he says something. They say, Donald Trump claims without evidence that blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But they do not do it when Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and actually Obama talk about these things. They just let it ride.
They do. And anybody who says, oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist, really isn't paying attention. I don't even think there is a debate anymore about the biasness of the media. It's clear. And to me, it's clear that this whole thing is coordinated. I mean, you're talking about, Kamala Harris and the Democrats. They're worried they're going to lose Pennsylvania. They're worried that Harris has made one mistake after another out on the campaign trail. I was reading somebody the other day. I can't remember who it was. But they're saying that the political people will look back on the campaign of Kamala Harris and they'll say that they made such fundamental mistakes in messaging, in skipping, for example, the Al Smith dinner and some of the other things that they've done. They've just made a lot of rookie mistakes. And to me, it's interesting because they didn't have a lot of time to put a campaign together. But honestly, she hasn't really done anything all that unique. Her policies are basically Joe Biden's. or things that the Democrats have done in the past, except, a lot of them are a lot more progressive. But she's also flip-flopped on literally everything. A lot of people are out there saying that it was a huge mistake to bring Liz Cheney and Dick Cheney out on the campaign trail. That ticked off a lot of progressives. Jon Stewart was out there saying to Tim Walz, how could you bring Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney out on the campaign trail with you? They led us into wars. And of course, the answer to that is, well, so have the Democrats. So that's what they now have in common. So, Joan, what was your? I'm sorry, I'm so wrapped up in all this. What was your? What was your comment? I don't even remember.
Because of the media background.
Yes.
I just noticed those things that anchors have always said of President Trump. Every time they say something that repeat something that he says, they say Donald Trump claims without evidence.
There's always evidence.
Yes.
I mean, that's like saying Donald Trump says without evidence that, Kamala Harris and Alejandro Mayorkas and Joe Biden led to the illegal immigration surge.
Yeah.
I actually have heard people say that in the media. And it's like, are you kidding me? How could you even possibly say that? There's obviously evidence. Yet when it comes to, the accusations, yeah, you're right, Joan, when it comes to the accusations that the left makes against Trump, they never say without evidence, and the Democrats often do say that there's no evidence. There's a story out there today. I didn't even get to it in the opening monologue, but there's now a yet another woman from 1993 that is saying that Donald Trump groped her. And the woman says, let me pull up the story here real quick. The woman claims that in 1993, she was dating Jeffrey Epstein, and that she and Epstein went to, Donald Trump and Trump Tower, and Trump right there just groped her. The woman's a former model. And she says that it was clear that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were really good friends. And she was part of some sadistic game that was being played by Epstein and Trump, where Epstein brings the hot model into Trump Tower and then Trump gropes her.
Yeah.
That's the accusation from 1993. And there's no evidence of this. And by the way, the woman came forward on some sort of a big Zoom call for Kamala Harris from 1993. There's no evidence of this. She's never said this to anyone before, ever. And so it's exactly what they did with Judge Kavanaugh. It is exactly what they did with Judge Kavanaugh.
There's no corroborating evidence. There's no one else saying, yep, that happened.
Yeah, no, nobody.
She told me about that years ago. Nothing. It's just her on a Zoom call.
No, I don't know how many.
And what perfect timing, October.
What? Oh, yeah.
It's so dumb. Somebody said on the super text line, Dan, you act like, we're going to fall for this. And, my thing is, well, I don't know if people are going to fall for it. I don't think that listeners of WTN will fall for it. But there are people that are new that are listening every day. And so I got to make sure that they don't fall for it, So there is a lot today. There is still her town hall from yesterday, CNN, that we're going to get to. We've got that. I've got a piece of audio from an old woman, and she became triggered by somebody's Trump Vance sign in their front yard. And this is like truly the mind of an old TDS, Trump derangement syndrome woman. Listen to this.
Are you the one that walks by here and always screaming at people?
No, I haven't walked by recently.
Okay, because a lot of people walk by and scream.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. You are voting for the devil. Don't you know that?
You are voting for the devil, she says.
Oh, Lord.
Whoa.
The devil. And this is like so TDS. This is an old woman. She, knocks on the door. How Kurt, you know what?
You're voting for the devil.
You know what? I would love to put a Trump Harris sign in my front yard and dare someone, Trump Vance sign, and dare someone to come and knock on my door and try to debate me on. That's like the Uber driver from hell.
Yeah.
The guy that tried to debate me, and I threw down 2.5 minutes right there in the car. of why Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are idiots and why Trump rules. And he was awfully silent after that. I mean, this is the same kind of thing. This woman, you're voting for the devil.
No. Why are you voting for him? Because I believe he is the moral candidate. Oh, my God. F you for that one.
Wow.
F you for that one.
Wow. And she calls him the devil.
Yeah.
I'm sure this is a very nice Christian lady.
Oh, I'm sure she is.
I'm sure she is.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. You are voting for the devil. Don't you know that? No. Why are you voting for him? Because I believe he is the moral candidate. Oh, my God. F you for that one. That's
Moral?
exactly right. That's how your side acts. Oh, my God. That's
He's
how
the
you
most
guys...
immoral person around.
In your opinion, that's okay.
So I love how she's like, he is the most immoral person around. Memo to old woman wherever this is. It was your candidate that had an affair with a married man, and that's how she ended up in politics.
Yeah.
So, and not to mention the constant lying of what the left does about Donald Trump, as I documented in the first segment of the radio program. So it is kind of funny how she gets, and if you look at her face, she's like Laura Dern in Jurassic Park. You know what I mean? It's like she can't believe what she's hearing, and she's very angry.
That's exactly right. That's how your side
It
acts.
calls her a moron.
Oh, my God. That's
He's
how
the
you
most
guys...
immoral person around.
In your opinion, that's
Oh,
okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Have a nice day. Have a nice day. God bless you.
Oh, I love it.
What?
God bless you.
God bless you.
That's
great.
What I like in it is a visual. Let me post this. I'm gonna post this to my X feed.
Man, she's unhinged.
Oh, yeah.
Well, when she was walking away, she was holding up her middle finger. And
that's not immoral at all.
No. I mean, I would have to ask.
I don't understand how we got so toxic and just so divided.
I don't know how it happened.
And I'm glad you brought him up. My gosh, he's out there saying that Trump's economy was because of him. And nobody
Obama's saying that?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. He's been saying that.
Yes. He said, yeah, your economy was great because I left it with you. That was my economy.
Oh, my gosh.
And people are buying it. Well, the people.
I don't know who's buying it. Nobody.
I mean, anybody that lived through the Obama years can't believe that.
No, he's on crack.
He's on something. Good gosh.
He and Eminem, they're on crack.
I love when they take credit for somebody else's economy. I left you with that.
Well, here's the thing. And number one, when it comes to the economy, everybody knows what Donald Trump did. Donald Trump came in and he lowered taxes. He lowered regulations. That did wonders for the economy. He did spend a lot of money. Johnny, you were always right on that. Donald Trump did spend a lot of money. And then, but he lowered taxes and he lowered regulations and inflation was kept down as well. So, like it or not, that is one of the hallmarks of Donald Trump's economy.
We were all doing well.
Then COVID came in and obviously shanked everything. But then Biden came in, and had he just left Trump's plan in place, many economists will tell you this. If he had just left Donald Trump's plan in place, it would have been fine. But Biden had to come in. He had to do his stupid stuff. He had to give people more money. He had to have more stimulus packages. And that is what completely torpedoed our economy, caused inflation to rise and all that. I've done that monologue 1,000 times. I don't want to do it here. But bottom line is, I think the Democrats, I do believe that they're getting desperate. But I don't know. Joan, you've been doing this, and Johnny, you've been doing this longer than I have. Somebody said on the super text line, I don't know why you're going through all this. We're not falling for this. No, but again, research and ratings show that we have new people listening every single day.
Exactly.
And they're just tuning in right now to figure out the economy. So, or not to figure out the election. So, I mean, we have to point it out, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you have to educate people continuously because there are people that are just waking up to reality.
Yep. 0994. The Dems are gaslighting. 7546 says, because we're talking about Jamaican Jerk Day, guy says, well, Kamala's half Jamaican.
Oh, there you go.
Good point.
Yeah. Even though she can't speak it very well.
Come on, man.
She said man.
Man, yeah.
She didn't say mon. She said man.
Did
Come
she?
on, yeah. She
whatever.
you're supposed to say mon there.
Are you? All right.
Kamala.
Well, anyway, and I'm not even sure isn't Jamaican jerk like a beef jerky?
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Some kind of, yeah.
All right.
I'm not quite sure on that one.
I'm watching the video of that woman from your Twitter feed.
Oh, are you?
Oh, my goodness.
Doesn't she just look like an old bat?
Well, I can't understand why she goes up to this woman's door. Is it because she's got a yard sign?
She's got a Trump Harris sign. I don't see what I'm doing. A Trump Vance sign.
Please don't ever say that again.
I keep doing it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. How she feels that she has the right to walk up to this woman's door and berate her is crazy.
Yeah, it's beyond me.
And you'll notice the Trump Vance supporters like,
have a nice day.
Have a nice day. God bless you.
Trying to be nice, and the other.
Well, she knows she's got video on her that she can release and make her look like like the moron she is.
I think we need to send illegal aliens to that old lady's house.
Oh yeah.
Hey, let's find some nice Venezuelans. Let's find some Trende Aragua members, and hey, we got this old lady that wants to take you in. I'm sure she's got a few extra rooms.
Yeah, and a few tasty cats.
See, I'm pretty sure she's the single cat lady.
I think so.
Yeah.
She probably screams at them, poor things.
Can you imagine being that woman's husband?
Ooh, I don't think she has one.
She doesn't have one. She has cats.
That's, okay. Very good. There we go. Find a place. Everybody's computer working all right? Because mine's kind of...
Oh, yeah.
No,
my computer
really.
is not working, and I can say that with evidence.
Yeah, mine isn't working very well either.
Is it?
Yeah.
Mandis is losing his mind with evidence. Anyway, moving right along. Joan, what's coming up?
Well, an argument over Halloween costumes turned into a shooting inside a local Target store. We've got more on that. Also, a Nashville neighborhood is taking matters into their own hands when it comes to license plate readers. Those stories coming up at 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. Why do I love Brentwood Jewelry? Dan Mandis here. Well, Brentwood Jewelry, they can help you with whatever jewelry needs you have, from watches to rings and bracelets and necklaces and so much more. So no matter the reason or the season, Brentwood Jewelry can give you the perfect gift no matter your budget. They can really help you. They can also customize pieces for you as well. So if you're looking for the absolute perfect ring, for example, and you can't find one, well, then you can build it at Brentwood Jewelry. They do great work. They're also Nashville's premier timepiece dealer at Brentwood Jewelry. You need to find a great watch at a reasonable price. Your answer is Brentwood Jewelry. And every watch includes a 2-year warranty. Shop in store or online, 7012 Church Street East in the heart of Brentwood, just off Franklin Road. Exceptional styles, exceptional deals every day for over 50 years. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. Online, BrentwoodJewelry.com.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand from 99.7 WTN. If you're thinking about advertising this year in 2025 and beyond, you have to combine the power of radio with the power of digital. We do it here flawlessly, and our sales team can hook you up with a package tailored to your exact needs. So if you want to advertise with me. Advertise with 99.7 WTN. Go to the website for more info, 997wtn.com/epic.
Good morning, 6 o'clock now, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. One troubling spot this morning, it's on 40 eastbound, and we've got the right lane blocked by a crash. That crash involves a tractor trailer, so that'll be slow in that area for quite a while this morning. We've got the forecast and the full traffic report coming up in 5 minutes. The woman at the center of a bizarre shooting inside a Spring Hill Target store last night is now cooperating with police. She reportedly pulled out a gun and fired at least one shot during an argument with another woman. Fortunately, no one was hurt. Now, the suspect is described as a 24-year-old woman whose address is in Columbia. She's provided police with a statement and is said to be cooperating. A Nashville neighborhood says it plans to install license plate reader cameras on their own. Channel 4's Dryden Quigley spoke to people in the Harbor View area. They say they're tired of waiting for the city to approve it.
Mary Beth Russell has lived here for more than 20 years. She says license plate readers are a great idea and that having them would both deter criminals and help them get caught faster.
I love it. I think it's great. This is a big cut through. A lot of people cut through our neighborhood, to cut off the lights and all that. So, and there's also a lot of car break-ins around here.
The community is going to buy the cameras from Flock. Each one will cost about $2,500 per year. The board estimates that would be a little more than $4 a month for each household.
Now, Mayor Freddie O'Connell told WTN's Matt Murphy show 2 weeks ago that a new proposal for LPRs could be ready to submit to Metro Council by the end of the year. Well, the investigation into McDonald's E. coli outbreak of its Quarter Pounders continues.
Sliced onions and Quarter Pounders have been identified as the possible culprit. And now Taylor Farms of California is recalling its onions. It's unclear if Taylor Farms supplied the onions in question, but the company is a supplier to the fast food chain. Other restaurants are now pulling the onions from their menus, including Illegal Pete's, a Colorado-based burrito chain.
ABC's Andrew Dimbart there. Now, Tennessee is not on the list of states affected by the tainted onions. It is confirmed now that North Korea has sent troops to Russia. That's according to Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, who calls it a serious situation.
The White House confirming that some 3,000 North Korean soldiers are inside Russia for a possible combat deployment to Ukraine. A highly concerning move the U.S. calls a sign of desperation and weakness.
Now, South Korea and Ukraine have sounded the alarm in recent days. They have shared intelligence and voiced dissatisfaction with what they see as a lack of urgency in the response from the U.S. Market numbers report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Big losses yesterday on the market. Dow futures are down 57 today. The NASDAQ futures are plus 162. The S&P futures are up 25. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Well, 40 is quite a mess this morning. We've got a crash on 40 eastbound past Fessler's Lane, exit 212, and that one's blocking the right lane. A tractor trailer is involved in that one. 40 eastbound lanes as well. I-65 south. Just before that, there is a problem this morning. That's exit 210, a crash reported in that area. Also, 40 eastbound lanes at Fessler's exit. The crash is blocking the off-ramp as well to exit 212. And then the big one here is a crash taking the right lane. The right lane is blocked off. It's 40 westbound. And this one's Old Hickory Boulevard West, exit 199. There's a crash. There's a van that is on the shoulder, but it's not facing the right way. It's actually sideways. So the back end of that van is into the lanes. Be careful as you're going past that area. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Information fueled,
opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
6:07, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Okay. In the 5 o'clock hour, we played a bunch of audio from Kamala Harris, from Karine Jean-Pierre, talking about how they're calling Donald Trump a fascist and all that stuff. And I'll get back to that. She also, by the way, the vice president had the town hall from CNN. We're going to get into that as well. But I do want to get into some of this amazing audio from Tucker Carlson. Now, you heard, I think Chris Hand was talking about this yesterday. They're talking about how this was the mother of all Donald Trump rallies. And this was last night in Georgia. And I love what Tucker had to say, because he speaks the absolute truth when he talks about the breakdown of the Democrat Party. Listen to this.
The story the country tells itself about reality has flipped. None of the normal people are supporting the Democratic machine. Tim Walz is supporting the Democratic machine. A man you would never allow to babysit your own children. That's the archetype. It's the party of weirdos, of envy, of hate, of resentment, of bitterness, of weakness, of a total lack of creativity. It's a party of conformity. It's a party of the machine, where it doesn't matter who the candidate is because individuals are immaterial. All that matters is the collective. That's the Soviet model.
And here's the thing. And we were talking earlier about how, the narrative today and yesterday and for the next almost 2 weeks until the election day, November 5th, is that Donald Trump is a fascist and Donald Trump is Hitler. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that probably some of you don't know. But they called George W. Bush Hitler and a fascist. They called Ron DeSantis a fascist. They called Dick Cheney Hitler and a fascist, right? They called Nikki Haley a fascist. So it's like, as you listen to Tucker Carlson and his absolute epic takedown of the Democrat Party, where he says this is the party of weirdos and envy, of hate, of resentment, of bitterness. I mean, think about, I'm sorry if you just joined us and you missed the Gang of Three. We played audio of an old woman who walked up the steps of a Donald Trump supporter who had a Trump-Vance campaign sign on her front lawn, and this old lady knocks on the door, and she starts berating the woman inside for being a Trump-Vance supporter. And she told the lady to F off. The weirdo old lady told the Trump supporter to F off, and she flipped the middle finger. I mean, it's the epitome of Trump derangement syndrome. And so somebody please tell me where Tucker Carlson is wrong when he says that this is the party that is lacking creativity. I just told you how. Because the only card that they can play right now is the race card, the misogyny card, and the Hitler card. It's all they've got. And it's all they've had for years.
And opposing them is the rest of the country, slowly waking up to the fact that these people have no moral authority whatsoever. They have no legitimacy in a democracy where the government must rule by the consent of the governed. They have no consent. And the way that they've treated this country over the past 4 years is the most shocking thing I've ever seen in 55 years.
I mean, listen, he's right. Think about how we've been treated. Think about how you've been treated. I mean, the biggest thing to me, we can all quibble over policy. But when you talk about just the sheer lying that they have done, and you know it, and I know it, Tucker certainly knows it. But if you're new to the program, I think that it's important that you understand that when we talk about how this administration has treated the American people, when you have roughly half of the American people who support Donald Trump, who support J.D. Vance, and they've been doing everything they can via lawfare through the Department of Justice, Joe Biden's Department of Justice, to keep Donald Trump off the ballot, to throw him in jail, to prevent him from running. That's how this administration has treated the American people. They've also lied to the American people. They've lied to the American people about the border being secure, that the border is closed, when in reality it was absolutely wide open. We could go down the road of the mandatory COVID vaccinations. We could go down that road. We could go down the road of this administration perpetually lying about the crime rates in our country, where we've all been saying, even Donald Trump, of course, and all of us have been saying that crime is going through the roof. Oh, no, it's not. That's fake news. Donald Trump says without evidence, conservative talk show hosts say without evidence, that crime is going through the roof. Lo and behold, after we've all been told that we were lying about crime going up, in reality, the FBI had to come out and, yes, admit that their stats were incomplete and that crime was going up. I know, shocker, right? So when Tucker says the way that this administration has treated the people of this country over the last 4 years, shocking. And he's right. The partisan lying, the sanitizing of Adolf Hitler by saying that Donald Trump is Adolf Hitler, by saying that Donald Trump is a fascist, is shocking. And yet nobody will call out the Democrats in the media. It's only a bunch of talk show hosts and Tucker Carlson and Donald Trump. So yeah, as he says, it is absolutely shocking. More from Tucker Carlson is coming up. It is 6:15 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time to check the roads. Thank you very much. 6:15 on Nashville's Morning News, Sunday today, and a high of 78. Appreciate you listening to Super Talk 99.7, where it is 55 degrees.
To allow millions of people, mostly young men with no skills and no English, into our country illegally, and then fly them around at our expense and give them phones and put them on welfare programs that no American citizen can get? It is the most insulting. Yeah, boo. But it's worse than boo. That's the biggest crime in the history of the United States of America. And it takes incredible It takes incredible stones, incredible gall for the people who did that to stand up there on a stage and give you a lecture about how you're immoral.
I mean, listen, Tucker's right. It's like when you, and I just laid out, I mean, you want to talk about, again, illegal immigration, the lawfare. We could talk about, remember when they said that inflation was good? You guys remember that? When inflation was good? Oh, the economy's fine. Inflation's only at 9.3%. So when he says it takes a lot of gall, it takes a lot of, he says stones, it takes a lot of chutzpah for them to call Donald Trump and Republicans immoral. And the thing is, it takes a lot of, for people like us, it takes a lot of, what's the right word? I don't even know. For us not to get angry back. Like that woman. I'll replay the audio. The woman who was verbally attacked by the Trump derangement syndrome old woman, to sit there and take that crap from that old woman, and for her just to say, you know, we're going to agree to disagree and, you know, have a nice day, have a blessed day. You know, that's what she did. Me dealing with that stupid Uber driver who was yelling at me about Donald Trump. I mean, we've all dealt with this in one way or another. It was interesting because there's a guy on TikTok. Somebody on the super text line said to me, Mandis, you're talking like we don't all know this. You're talking like we're all going to fall for this narrative that Donald Trump is a Nazi and is Hitler-like. So why are you going through this? And here's why I'm going through this. There's a guy on TikTok. Somebody mentioned me in a comment or something on TikTok. I'm never on there. But this is why I do what I do. Because he was on TikTok and he tagged me, Dan Mandis Show. And he was talking about how what he was used to doing was watching the mainstream media and how they would call Donald Trump all of the things that we've been hearing about for, you know, the last 8 years. And he said, I was just convinced because I watched the mainstream media that Donald Trump was really a bad guy. He's a horrible individual. And then he says some sort of a news story happened and he happened along conservative talk radio. And he described how listening to conservative talk radio, he would listen to them. He didn't mention me by name, but he did tag me in the post, play longer cuts than the mainstream media would play. And they would be put in the proper perspective. And he soon began to realize that Trump was not the enemy. It was actually the media that was lying to him about what Donald Trump was and what he would say and what he stood for and his policies and the results of his policies. And so this guy, if you listen to the TikTok post, he was red-pilled right here on Super Talk 99.7 and apparently Nashville's Morning News because he tagged me in the post. And he probably listens all day to Chris Hand and Matt Murphy and Brian Wilson. But you see, that's why, one of many reasons, that's why we do what we do. And that's why I play the longer clips. And that's why I love what Tucker Carlson is saying. Because the left and the media, they are all just absolutely coordinated, hand in hand, doing everything they can to try and destroy this country, further destroy this country.
It's too much. And so that's the second important thing about this election, okay? The first is every person in this room needs to understand you are not in a despised minority. You are in an incredibly gentle and tolerant majority who put up with this crap for way too long. As they insulted not only you, but the memory of your ancestors who died for this country. They tore down statues to their memory. People have never built anything in their lives.
Yep.
They went out of their way to humiliate you and spit on you and the graves of your ancestors. And that's not an exaggeration. They did that.
He's absolutely right. Tucker Carlson is absolutely right when he says that that is what the left did. And he's describing, I'm going to replay this one more time. Actually, probably I'll play it for Chris Hand too, because he'll love this at 8:35. But he's describing this Trump derangement syndrome old lady who knocked on the door of a Donald Trump supporter, and this is what it sounds like.
I want to know how you can vote.
We can't answer the door right now, but if you'd like to leave a message, you can do it now.
Shameful. Are you the one that walks by here and always screaming at people?
No, I haven't walked by recently.
Okay, because a lot of people walk by and scream.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. You are voting for the devil. Don't you know that?
She says, you are voting for the devil. Don't you know that?
No.
Why are you voting for him?
Because I believe he is the moral candidate.
Oh, my God. F you for that one.
I love that. So this woman who tells a complete stranger, F you for that, she's claiming that Donald Trump is not the moral candidate, which means that her candidate is the moral candidate, and she's saying F you for that.
Moral?
That's how your side acts.
Oh, my God.
That's
He's
how
the
you
most
guys...
immoral person around.
In your opinion, that's
Oh,
okay. I'm sorry. Have a nice day. Have a nice day. God.
And she's walking down the sidewalk, and she's got her middle finger hoisted at this Donald Trump supporter. Yet she is the one, she says, that is the moral candidate without evidence. Because I think
she's the poster child, honestly.
Do you know what's funny? So, you know, Joan, when Donald Trump, do you remember it's like a meme, the purple-haired freak who's on her knees screaming no?
Yes, she's also the poster child.
Yeah, so maybe this is the new, trust me though, this old lady, she's no child.
Oh, yeah.
She is like the poster old woman for Trump derangement syndrome. Anyway, if you want to see that, you can. It is on the Dan Mandis Show X feed, the Twitter feed, again, at Dan Mandis Show. Follow me there if you would. And I'm sorry, I am having so many issues in here today. I'm sorry, friends.
Did you get your information back?
No. Just for people that don't know what's happening behind the scenes, my computer with all of my information this morning, I don't want to dwell on it because I don't want to use it as an excuse for a sucky show. But my entire show that is on my computer, the program crashed. And all my entire show prep this morning crashed and burned. So we get to wing it today, which is fine. 6:24 on Nashville's Morning News. And Joan Jones is here. That's your name, right? It's not on my script,
well,
Joan.
Sometimes it says Jane.
It does say Jane.
Yeah.
But we'll call you Joan. Joan Jones is got the news at 6:30. What's coming up?
Well, we'll let you know here that an arrest has been made in that horrible incident in which a little 10-year-old girl was killed riding on a scooter with her mom. An arrest has been made, but it's not the guy that they're looking for. We'll explain in just a moment. It's coming up at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 624, Nashville's Morning News. Big news from my friends at DT McCall's. If you've been thinking about buying a gun safe, but you've been putting it off, now is your time to buy. Because gun safes are sales tax free at DT McCall's. Now, you know, they are the largest Liberty Safe dealer in the state of Tennessee. Why? Many reasons. But number one, free delivery. And number two, free setup as well. Others going to charge you $500 at least for delivery and setup in the bigger models, $300 for smaller models. DT McCall's and Sons, they deliver every safe for free every time, period. No setup charge either. Now, this is the company you want to go through. Save some big bucks right now on your Liberty gun safe when you shop at your local DT McCall's. Find them online, dtmccalls.com. 5 locations across Middle Tennessee, Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, Franklin. Always online, dtmccalls.com.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing. The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
.629 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Michael Keaton is going viral for all the wrong reasons. Wait till you hear that. Dan Mandis here. If you've ever wanted to live by the lake, a great opportunity is coming this Saturday, October 26th. Tennessee National is an incredible resort, golf, and marina community 20 minutes outside of Knoxville, and they're releasing a limited number of lots this coming Saturday. It is Tennessee National's great fall sales event with updates and upgrades on lake townhomes, outdoor living spaces, and a whole lot more. How about 2 years of free boat rentals, $10,000 off of golf memberships, plus 50% off of a brand new golf cart, and that's just where it begins. Now, these are incredible properties and amenities. They are amazing as well. 3.5 miles of shoreline, pickleball courts, a massive restaurant and clubhouse, and 10 miles of walking trails. It is Tennessee National. This Saturday, they'll be releasing these lake lots to the public, so check them out. Call them, reserve your time. Spots are limited. 865-408-9992. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. 865-408-9992. TennesseeNational.com.
Good morning, 6:30 now, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. An arrest has been made in the hit-and-run crash that killed a 10-year-old girl and critically injured her mom. Those two were riding a scooter, as you may remember, in the bike lane along Nolensville Pike when a red car hit them head-on. Well, now police have arrested 29-year-old Orlin Agueda Zuniga, the suspect's nephew, who tells police that he drove his uncle to a bus station in Texas. That uncle, Daenerys Zuniga, then crossed the border and headed back to his home country of Honduras to escape. The nephew is now in jail on $7,500 bond. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation issuing an endangered child alert for a couple of Nashville boys. They are a 1-year-old and a 3-month-old. They're believed to be with their mother. She is a non-custodial mother, 39-year-old Sarah Myers. And they're believed to be traveling in a 1997 cream-colored Lincoln Town Car with Tennessee tags BDL2290. It is confirmed now that North Korea has sent troops to Russia. That's according to Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, who calls it a serious issue.
The White House confirming that some 3,000 North Korean soldiers are inside Russia for a possible combat deployment to Ukraine. A highly concerning move the U.S. calls a sign of desperation and weakness.
ABC's Martha Raddatz there. South Korea and Ukraine both sounding the alarm. They shared intelligence and they're voicing dissatisfaction with what they see as a lack of urgency in response from the U.S. Market numbers now. The Dow futures are down 63 points. NASDAQ futures up 178. S&P futures are gaining 28. Those numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management online at beaconcm.com. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 6:33, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 89.7. Did you know that you're funding America's future? And it's not the future you want for you or your kids. Most major credit cards funnel millions of dollars to liberal causes and candidates, hoping that you don't notice. You need to take a stand. We need to take a stand and get woke out of your wallet. Coin is the conservative's credit card. You earn cash back while advancing a conservative future and agenda. Apply now at coin.com. COIGN, coin.com. Terms apply. Go to coin.com/disclosures for full details. Coin is your conservative values credit card.
So 40 eastbound lanes, the off-ramp there at Fessler's Lane, exit 212. The right ramp is blocked. The right shoulder has been blocked off because of a crash. Also a crash on 40 eastbound right at that... right at that same spot. A tractor trailer is involved there, and it is blocking some of the area, so be careful. You have to travel around that. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
.639 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Want to welcome on into the program Matthew Hurd. Matthew, always great to have you on. Boy, so many things to talk about. John, I need some audio real quick. So Kamala Harris with the CNN town hall last night. I'm going to play one audio bite from it, and this is Kamala Harris being asked if she could name any mistake that she's learned from in life.
Is there something you can point to in your life, political life or in your life in the last 4 years, that you think is a mistake that you have learned from?
I mean, I've made many mistakes, and they range from, you know, if you've ever parented a child, you know you make lots of mistakes too. In my role as vice president, I mean, I've probably worked very hard at making sure that I am well versed on issues, and I think that is very important. It's a mistake not to be well versed on an issue and feel compelled to answer a question.
What the hell was that, Matthew? It's like, okay, so name a mistake that you've made that you've learned from, and she couldn't name one. And those of us who have watched this administration and simply watched her in action could probably name at least 5 mistakes that she's made.
Well, this is an entry-level interview question for a job interview. Yeah. In answering the question correctly, which would be to tell any story where you've made a mistake and learn from it, it shows humility, which shows relatability to voters. And she failed right out of the gate on that question, because many of us can think of times when we've made a mistake and learned from something. That's how we grow as individuals. It's how we grow in our families, in our jobs, in our communities, and it's how our politicians should grow. But it's very clear that she was not willing to answer that question which is unfortunate because it may have shown a little bit of the human side of her if she had gotten the question right.
You know, it's interesting, Matthew, because you know that yesterday Kamala Harris was out there, and I haven't spoken to you really since this whole Atlantic article came out talking about how Donald Trump, I covered it extensively yesterday, where he used a racial expletive to talk about this Army private that was murdered, saying that the president, Donald Trump, called her an effing Mexican. No evidence whatsoever, no proof that this actually happened. This is just the Atlantic doing what the Atlantic does. And you have that part of the story. You have the part of the story where Trump supposedly said that he needed more generals like Adolf Hitler, praising Adolf Hitler, they say. And everybody involved, with the exception of the usual Trump haters, John Kelly and John Bolton, they're saying that it's true, but there are many people who worked within the Trump administration that are saying it's not true. But that, of course, gives Kamala Harris the permission to go out and do this.
So yesterday we learned that Donald Trump's former chief of staff, John Kelly, a retired four-star general, confirmed that while Donald Trump was president, he said he wanted generals like Adolf Hitler had. Donald Trump said that because he does not want a military that is loyal to the United States Constitution. He wants a military that is loyal to him.
I mean, everybody's heard it. And to me, and even last night during the CNN town hall, she was also asked the question, do you believe that Donald Trump is a fascist? And she, of course, says yes. I mean, this is clearly an October surprise. I don't know if it's a good October surprise. I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens.
We're in the last 2 weeks of this election, and obviously the Kamala Harris campaign has seen internal polling. It is too close for comfort for her, and this is the last page of the playbook for the Democrats leading into an election. Call your opponent a Nazi. Call your opponent a fascist. Compare your opponent to Adolf Hitler. Now we're in silly season, and it's just not serious. But what this is going to do, or what they will try to do, is scare those middle-of-the-road, moderate people who only check in every once in a while kind of voters who will take something out of context, hear it from Kamala Harris, believe it's true, and then go vote accordingly. And that's an unfortunate side effect of this late stage of the game here.
One of the things I keep going down this road, but it's clear that this is a coordinated hit piece, right? You've got the Atlantic, and they come up with the story. They use John Kelly, and then later John Bolton, the media uses him. So the Atlantic piece gives Kamala Harris the ability to utilize this talking point yet again in a fresh way. Then the media, of course, starts jumping on it and piling on as well. And they're treating this like it is a legit story. So I feel like this is sort of like the laptop all over again, right? Where the media was out there in mass saying, oh, this is Russian disinfo, this is Russian disinfo. Oh, Donald Trump said this, Donald Trump said this, Donald Trump's a fascist, Donald Trump said something nasty about a murdered Army private who was Mexican. I just feel like this is that all over again. It's like the same old damn playbook.
This is, the way you articulated that was really good. So the Atlantic story, and then Kamala Harris can reply to it, and then the mainstream media reports on her reply. And then for the next 2 weeks, we're talking about, or the general public is talking about, is Donald Trump Hitler? Because we've now strayed from what was a half-truth or a rumor or something unsubstantiated from perhaps even disaffected members of the administration. So it's really outrageous that the Harris campaign refuses to talk about the economy, refuses to talk about foreign policy, refuses to talk about what is in the best interest of the American people, and they want to distract us for the next 2 weeks with this garbage.
645, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super commentary from Matthew Hurd. More coming up. Time to check the roads on WTN. Thank you very much. Sunny today and a high of 78, 54 now at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Matthew Hurt is joining us on the Super Text Newsmaker hotline thing. Matthew, it's been a rough morning around here.
Yeah, I hear your dog ate your homework.
My dog did eat my homework. The computer ate my homework, but moving on from there. So the CNN town hall, I watched some of it, not all of it. I'm watching some clips and so forth as well. But it doesn't look like she fared very well. I don't know what others are saying about it who are a little more independent-minded, but it just doesn't look like she is able to go beyond the talking points. I mean, that one audio bite that I played for you, simply, what's a mistake you made that you learned from and that turned into a word salad? I don't think she did very well. What say you?
I picked up a piece from Yahoo News, 7 takeaways from Kamala Harris's CNN town hall, and it is exactly that. She hobbled along. She stuck to the talking points. We learned nothing new. She did insert the new narrative now, the fascism narrative. But there was nothing favorable coming from this. And even the independent voter who asked about the cost of groceries being still too high, that is where most Americans clue in to the impact of the economy of these policies. And she wasn't able to really answer that question. And so we're not going to get any substantive answers from Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, and they are going to continue to distract us with their talking points and with wild accusations.
A lot of people are talking about how you've got Obama. He is out there campaigning for Kamala Harris. What I don't understand is he was caught on camera telling Joe Biden he was the stronger candidate. Yet Obama is now out there trying to sell Kamala Harris to the American people. And I realize that is part of his job as really the true leader of the Democrat Party. But I don't know if this is really going to work to try to sell her to the American people, because no matter how great of an orator Barack Obama is, she can't even sell herself.
Well, what's absolutely wild is in the wake of the Trump-Biden debate where Biden fell on his face, I told your audience I didn't see the Democratic Party switching out candidates, and it would take a lot of wrangling on the convention floor. Well, it didn't, and I was wrong there. But gosh, I think we were right in thinking that Joe Biden probably should have stayed on the ticket, and I think that Democrat consultants and higher ups are going to ask themselves this question for years. Would Joe Biden have defeated Donald Trump in November if Kamala Harris doesn't?
All right. Thank you very much. 6:49 on Nashville's Morning News. I teased this. I have to play it. Johnny alerted me to this audio from Michael Keaton, and I'm going to ask you to comment on this audio, Matthew, after we hear what Michael Keaton had to say about Donald Trump.
Hey, hi, Michael. For some of you folks who, guys mostly, I guess, who are thinking about attending a rally with Musk and Trump, they don't really respect you. They laugh at you behind your back. They think you're stupid. They don't want to hang out with you. They have nothing in common with you. They're not your bros. And I'm telling you, when Trump, years ago, I guess, said, I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and they'd still vote for me. Basically what he's saying in parentheses is, these people are so stupid, they're so dumb, they'd still vote for me. They have no respect for you, trust me.
So it's interesting because Donald Trump just spent time in bodegas, in barbershops, at McDonald's. He is truly hanging out with the American people, which is a heck of a lot more than we can say for Kamala Harris.
I don't know what brain worm gets into the minds of the Hollywood types that compels them to make a video for TikTok or Twitter or Facebook or whatever, because all of these just tend to fall flat, and they seem so out of touch, and particularly in contrast with the last couple of weeks of Donald Trump on the campaign trail. That is a sharp contrast, and the American people are looking at it, and they're going to make a serious decision here in about 12 days.
So I'm purposely not really paying much attention to the polling, because one day it'll be like Kamala Harris is doing great. The next day, Donald Trump is doing great. they break it down within, black, Latino, white, women, whatever. Give me a 1-minute snapshot of where we are because I know you pay attention to this stuff, where we are in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, in Georgia, the states that really matter, the battleground states.
The absentee ballot return rates for Republicans in Pennsylvania bodes well. It's looking very good. I think that's going to be about a 1 or 2 point race in Trump's favor. We won't know that state until a couple of days after Election Day because of the mail-in ballot process. That'll probably upset some of your listeners. In Virginia, the race is shifting rather quickly. Republicans are now outperforming Republican early vote numbers better than 2021, 22, and 23. And in 2 of those elections, Republicans won. So Virginia could shift. Michigan is looking pretty good. Georgia, the turnout has been high, and that looks like it's going to bode well for Republicans. And all the way to the West Coast in Nevada, there's something special going on there, and I think Donald Trump's got that state too.
We are still, though, neck and neck. I think we would both agree, and we can't take our foot off the gas, and there's still a lot of work to be done.
Yes, none of your listeners, even in a state like Tennessee, should be sitting on their duffs waiting for this election to happen. There's plenty of work to do.
All right, Matthew Hurt, how can people follow you on Twitter?
I'm on Twitter at Matthew Hurt, MattheWHurtt.
All right, have a great rest of week. Appreciate it, Matthew. It is 6:52. Joan Jones, what's coming up in the news?
Well, Boeing machinists were handed a 37% pay raise, and they've just turned it down. And which country is hauling Bill Gates in to stand trial over COVID vaccines? Those stories coming up at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. Dan Mandis here. What if you could take all of that high-interest debt, like credit cards and car loans, and just consolidate everything into one lower payment and get it done by January? My friends at Loan Pronto can help you do just that. So stop stressing and call them today to get started. Now, listen, we've got the lowest rates in 2 years. So right now is the perfect chance to use your home's equity and save big going into the new year. They've got rates with APRs in the lower fives, and they're getting homeowners hundreds of thousands of dollars out of their home's equity. Homeowners who do this, they can save on average $850 a month. Loan Pronto offers a ton of options, including total refis or their express equity lines of credit. So call today, call right now, get a rate quote in just minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call today and you won't make a house payment till 2025. Find them online, loanpronto.com, 615-499-5780. Loanpronto.com. Get a free rate quote today, 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781. On approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org. Hey everybody, Dan Mandis with Nashville's Morning News and Super Talk 89.7 WTN. I was speaking to Dr. Christopher Van Shank the other day at a station event. Now, he's a psychiatrist, and he was telling me about the mental health crisis here in America. And as you know, it's out of control. The COVID lockdowns were an absolute disaster. And Dr. Van Shank, again, he's a psychiatrist. And if you're one of those people, you feel like maybe you need to talk to somebody, I would recommend Dr. Christopher Van Shank. He can help you with addictions, depression, anxiety. He can also help kids with the same thing. He's been doing this for 15 years. He's been helping people, and he is here for you today. So if you want to check out his website is nolensvillepsychiatry.com. That's nolensvillepsychiatry.com. There's a whole list of issues that he can help you with. So check him out. If you feel like he can help you, give him a call. The number is below, and good luck.
Good morning. It's now 7 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Got a problem on Briley Parkway westbound this morning at Brick Church Road. An accident that TDOT just left, but they say a wrecker is going to come in, and that'll block some lanes. Be careful there. We've got more in traffic just ahead. Boeing machinists on strike for the past 6 weeks have turned down the latest contract offer, which included a 35% pay raise over 4 years. What it didn't have was a pension, and which the company had ended 10 years ago.
They get their pension, don't they? CEOs get $100 million worth of stock options when they retire. It's costing them billions a month. It's costing me thousands.
He is one of the 64% of the striking workers that voted down that latest contract offer. A Donaldson neighborhood is tired of waiting for license plate readers to be okayed by City Council. City Council. So the Harborview Homeowners Association is now deciding whether to buy and install the readers themselves.
I mean, if somebody breaks your window in a car, it costs more than that. But we've been talking about it for months, but I love it. I think it's great.
There's been a shooting at the Harborview Community Pool in June and some car thefts there. The cameras would cost each household about $4.50 a month. The HOA is holding a meeting in November to get more input before moving ahead. Damage control under the Golden Arches. McDonald's is working to reassure the 69 million people who visit on the average day that its food is safe.
Don't bother ordering a quarter pounder at nearly 2,700 McDonald's. It's been pulled from those locations' menus after an E. coli outbreak that has sickened dozens of people in 10 states. McDonald's USA President Joe Erlinger says
other beef products at McDonald's, including the cheeseburger, hamburger, and the double cheeseburger, are not impacted.
Despite his reassurances, some McDonald's loyalists are hesitant.
It made me think twice about my afternoon snack.
Jim Ryan, ABC News.
A Dutch court ruling that billionaire Bill Gates must stand trial in the Netherlands for allegedly misleading the public about the safety of COVID-19 vaccines.
These vaccines will allow us to save millions of lives. They'll also have another enormous benefit. They'll allow us to develop a plan for the world to globally eliminate COVID-19.
But that never happened because the vaccines were proven to not stop the transmission of COVID. Well, now 7 people in the Netherlands say they have suffered injuries from those vaccines and that Gates knew they were unsafe. One of the plaintiffs, in fact, has since died. They are suing Gates, Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla, and members of the Dutch government and others. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Dow futures down 47 this morning, but the NASDAQ futures up 191, and we've got S&P futures gaining 30. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Got some trouble spots on 40 this morning. Now, the eastbound lanes, there's an accident at Fessler's Lane. That's exit 212. It's blocking the off-ramp right side. It's also blocking the Gore. There's a tractor-trailer involved in that accident. And then on the westbound lanes of 40, watch it past Donaldson Pike, exit 216B. A crash is blocking the right shoulder. Briley Parkway westbound at Brick Church Road, a stalled-out vehicle there. The right shoulder is blocked off, but a wrecker is going to arrive soon, and that's going to block some lanes. Just be careful. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Information fueled,
opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
7:07 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Johnny just told me ABC, their big headline, Kamala sprints to the finish line. Is she really sprinting? I think she's like limping. I think she's like limping. She's crawling. She's going really slow. And quite frankly, she's wounded.
Here we go. And here's another headline from ABC News. 2024 election updates. Trump floats baseless election claims in Georgia.
What did he say? I don't even know. Whatever.
He could say anything, honestly, and they'd say it's baseless.
Yeah, it's like with no evidence. It's like,
yeah.
You know what? He's got all the evidence in the world. And I don't want to keep banging on the media about this whole fascist thing. Oh, look, it's 7:07 and Harris at Town Hall. Trump is unfit to serve and a fascist. So this is just going to be something that we are going to be hearing. As we were talking to Matthew Hurt, this is the narrative from now till Election Day.
Well, you know they're in trouble anytime they bring out celebrities like they're doing. When you get somebody like Michael Keaton that makes a hostage video. You know, I mean, they do this every time they're in trouble.
Yeah, they do. They do. And here's the deal. And they're bringing out, of course, Barack Obama. Obama doesn't want to be out there. Now, Harris, a couple of things. She is now doing interviews. So let's all be honest. She is doing interviews. They're just not going very well. And so we all know that she is still having big-time problems with the Latino vote. That is a bottom line for a lot of different reasons. Number one, it's the economy, stupid. Number two, it's because Latinos who are legal in this country are really angry over what's been happening on the southern border. So I love that she did an interview on Telemundo, and she was asked some tough questions, including this one.
Right now, we're talking about border security, and there's no Democrat talking about pathway to citizenship, an immigration relief, and the benefits that migrants bring to this country.
Oh, but there's no question that migrants bring. America is a country that was built in part by immigrants.
But people are concerned.
Why is she so? I mean, you hear that she's stuttering. You hear, and if you watch the video, you look like her eyes get really big. Like, I can't believe you're asking me this question. I can't believe you're saying this to me. The problem that Kamala has is that she simply is unable to express herself. And quite frankly, she's not really able to defend her policies either.
That migrants bring. America is a country that was built in part by immigrants.
But people are concerned about their TPS, their DACA, we're talking about mass deportations.
I'm not talking about.
What do you stand on mass deportations? What's your stand there?
We need smart, humane immigration policy in America that includes a pathway to citizenship.
All right, so she announced last night mass amnesty. Now, this is not anything new. I mean, she's been talking about mass amnesty before, so there's nothing surprising there. But it is interesting that at some point, you have to acknowledge the bad guys that are here. At some point, you have to. There's an article in, I'll have to see if I can find it before the end of the show, but there's an article out there today that this Tren de Aragua, they're all over the country. You know, first it was Colorado, then it was I forget what other state, but we're finding out more and more that Tren de Aragua, the vicious Venezuelan gang, they're all over the country. And yeah, they are taking over apartment buildings. And so she has no real answers. She has no real answers except, you know, allowing mass amnesty or a pathway to citizenship. And I love that he says no Democrats are talking about the benefits of migrants. Now, Donald Trump has said all along, we need legal and controlled immigration and migration. That is what Donald Trump has said. He's not afraid to say it. He said this often. And I've said it forever. We need legal and controlled immigration. All conservatives will tell you that. Yet Kamala Harris, the person running for president on the Democrat side, is having a hard time even forming a coherent thought on all things immigration, illegal and otherwise.
Polls suggest that you're having shortcomings with Latinos, specifically with Latino men. Why do you think that President Donald Trump has been able to make those gains with Latinos?
Listen,
Is it just me? I kind of like the deer in the headlights silence when she's actually asked a question. And you can hear in this soundbite, she's got this like really drawn out breath because she's trying to think of, you know, that's like an oh crap breath.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Isn't she supposed to be the great litigator, the one who put transnational gangs in prison, arguing in front of juries? And she's supposed to be able to think on her feet quickly.
Right.
and be able to make excellent points that skewer the other side.
Right. Well, she
Where is
doesn't. Well, it's nowhere to be found. And it's funny you should mention that whole putting the transatlantic gangs behind bars or whatever that is, because I did a couple of times. I've done a whole thing on that where they can't find anywhere in all of the, you know how they have all of the legal juries and all those and the trials and all that. They have all of that in programs, in computer programs and databases. Don't you know that they can't find evidence that she actually litigated any of those cases?
Ha.
Doesn't surprise me.
Really? I mean, that's not shocking.
No.
There are people that are scouring all of these databases, and they cannot find anywhere where she may have swooped in for a photo op.
Yeah.
But she actually didn't do any. She may have worked in the office, but she herself did not do any of that actual legal work. And so you can chalk that up to another lie. The plagiarism stuff is all over the place. I've got news on that, but just to let you know, Kamala Harris's, the accusations against her plagiarism, they're becoming louder and louder because they're finding more and more examples of her plagiarism. But when it comes to this question with Telemundo, and why is it that Donald Trump is attracting the Latino vote? Listen to the long, drawn-out, oh crap breath that she takes as she is searching for an answer.
Suggest that you're having shortcomings with Latinos, specifically with Latino men. Why do you think that President Donald Trump has been able to make those gains with Latinos?
Listen, right. Donald Trump has, when he was president, had policies that I think have been very harmful to working people.
Talking points.
You know, he gave tax cuts to...
You see how that works?
Oh, yeah. Not even really answering the question.
No, it's like she comes up with some sort of a generic answer, and then she pivots to the talking point. That is exactly what she does.
Billionaires and the biggest corporations. He will do that again.
But why is he winning with Latino voters? Not winning, but, winning more voters.
I mean, listen, that's going to be a big issue for Kamala Harris. Donald Trump is not winning, and it's important that you know the distinction. He's not winning with black voters. He's not winning with Latino voters, but he is getting a far larger share than any Republican in, generations. That's number one. And number two, Kamala Harris is losing support from the black community and from the Latino community. You look at from Obama to Hillary to Biden to Kamala Harris now, and you can see the support of those communities. It's going down. She is losing support big time, and Donald Trump has made gains every time that he has run for president.
And that's why she's had trouble with this interview, because she didn't expect this. She thought this was going to be just an easy ride.
You're exactly right, Johnny. 7:15. Time to check the roads on WTN. Sunny today, high of 78, and appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So the question is, from Kamala Harris, okay, but why are you losing support to Donald Trump among Latino men? Telemundo wants to know.
Billionaires and the biggest corporations. He will do that again.
But why is he winning with Latino voters? Not winning, but, winning more voters.
But this is not my experience. Mm-hmm. My experience is I talk with Latino voters every day, all the time. And there is an incredible amount of support there.
So she is claiming that she goes to her rallies and she speaks to, I don't know, a bunch of Latinos from the stage, because she doesn't actually go down into the crowd and talk to Latinos. She doesn't go into bodegas. She doesn't go into barber shops. From the stage, she talks, I'm air quoting here, talks to Latinos. And she says that she just can feel the support of the Latinos. Okay, but what about the polling? I mean, listen, there's a reason why Donald Trump is doing so well against Kamala Harris. It is the economy, and I do believe it is immigration as well. Legal migrants. Look at what's happening, and they are appalled. Do you think that some legal migrant who spent, I don't know, months, years, whatever it is, that spent a lot of time trying to get into this country legally and took the tests, got the visas, did the whole thing, got a job, paying taxes, American dream. Do you think he's really excited that Tren de Aragua and Venezuelan gangbangers are coming into this country? You think they're thrilled? Of course not. Do you think they were thrilled at 9.3% inflation? Of course not. Donald Trump is 11 points ahead of Kamala Harris in the polling for Latinos, 49 to 38%, with less than 2 weeks to go. So I guess the question is, all right, well, then how are you going to try to win back that vote? Now, does she have a plan for Latinos? She says that she does, from Fox News. Harris, on Tuesday after the poll came out, posted her plan to deliver real changes for Latino men and their families, including helping them to get jobs, helping them to grow small businesses with no-interest loans or deferred loan repayments, and fully forgive loans of up to $20,000, providing $25,000 in down payment assistance for first-time home buyers, expanding the child tax credit, and covering the cost of long-term home care through Medicare. Do you remember when she came out and she had all of these great things that she was going to do for black men? And then she had to, because she realized that she was discriminating against other folks. And so she had to come out and she had to say, never mind, that's for everybody. Well, I wonder if that's going to happen here as well. Because a lot of this stuff looks exactly like the gimmies and the goodies that she was offering to the black community as well. They realized that they were discriminating, and so they had to do an about-face. Now, you remember last week, I told you about Biden and Harris. They had reached an agreement with Mexico, I hope you remember this, to basically hold hundreds of thousands of migrants way south of our border, in like southern Mexico, to basically hold them hostage until after the election. And you remember this guy, Todd Bensman. I've been following his reporting, and he's still down there in southern Mexico. He's watching all of this, and, you know, he realizes that this is sort of like a shell game for the Biden and Harris administration and the Harris campaign.
Right now, the Mexican government is hemming them up and blocking their northward progress in the southern state of Chiapas. What will happen is they'll find their pathway blocked under a diplomatic agreement with the Biden administration back in December to lessen the congestion at our border for the Democratic Party's election campaign for president.
Exactly. They knew that the optics, the visuals are terrible of all these massive caravans coming across our southern border. So that's what they did. They reached an agreement, this guy says, with Mexico, and they're holding all of these migrants in southern Mexico so that the visuals aren't terrible heading into the election. And then if Kamala Harris, Lord help us, if Kamala Harris wins, well, then we're going to see just a massive caravan of millions coming into our country.
They succeeded in bringing the numbers way down by blocking them up in Chiapas State and in Tabasco State. A lot of the immigrants say that they are coming because they are fearful that Donald Trump will win a re-election and close the American border. So there's a panic, an urgency among the migrants to make this trip, to get over this river and just find some way to get to the American border.
Yeah, they are trying somehow to find a way in to sort of navigate around the Mexican authorities so that they can get in, because as this guy said, as Bensman said, they're worried about Donald Trump closing the border. And I mean, I think it's all, we're all assuming that he'll do something to stop this massive tide. By the way, again, very quickly, just to stay on illegal immigration for 2 seconds, they're doing the same thing in San Diego. Out of San Diego, California, the guys there, the supervisor, Jim Desmond, he is saying that Mayorkas and Harris and Biden are flying migrants out of California, out of San Diego, so the visuals are not nearly as bad, and they're spreading them all across the country, particularly in Texas and Arizona.
Our border issue, even though, yes, our numbers are down, we're just down from the peaks, but we still are overwhelmed here in San Diego County to the point where we can't handle the numbers that are coming across now. However, it's no longer as visible. It's much more clandestine and a little bit of smoke and mirrors, in my opinion, where instead of dropping these people off in the streets, which we really don't want in the first place, but they're dropping them off in other parts of the country, flying them out several times a week, like I said, or busing them to Yuma.
So they're holding them in southern Mexico, or they're dispersing them throughout the United States so that it doesn't look nearly as bad. That's what this administration is doing. And yes, I would agree. It is absolutely horrifying. Hopefully the mainstream media will pick up on it. I don't think that they will. The question is, will the American people do their due diligence in finding out exactly how culpable Kamala Harris is in the disaster that is illegal immigration here in our country? It is 7:24. On Nashville's Morning News, Joan Jones has the news coming up at 7:30. Joan, what's up?
A couple of shoppers arguing in the aisles of a Target. One of them pulls a gun and fires a shot. Also, we'll take a look at the prices to go to the World Series this year. Those stories coming up at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 7:24 on Super Talk 99.7. Friends, if you've got a piece of land, maybe some property that you don't know what to do with, I want you to think about a pole barn from my friends at Stoltzco. They are the premier pole barn builders here in the state of Tennessee. You know, putting up a pole barn from Stoltzco, it could increase the value of that land big time. You can also use it as a garage, an event space, an equestrian building for your horses. You can simply live in it. We call those barn dominiums. The thing is, pole barns from Stoltzco, they are flexible, and yes, they're built really well as well. Now, you can also plan to build your retirement home. Call these folks at Stoltzco. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. That phone number is 615-622-5992. They'll give you an estimate right over the phone, 615-622-5992. This is a great company. They're going to treat you right. You can find them online, Instagram and Facebook. They've got great social media accounts, and they'll give you examples of exactly what kind of a pole barn they can build for you and your family. You can always find them online. Stoltzco.com, Stoltzco, Stoltzco.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Hey everybody, Dan Mandis with Nashville's Morning News and Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I was speaking to Dr. Christopher Van Shank the other day at a station event. Now, he's a psychiatrist, and he was telling me about the mental health crisis here in America. And as you know, it's out of control. The COVID lockdowns were an absolute disaster. And Dr. Van Shank, again, he's a psychiatrist. And if you're one of those people, you feel like maybe you need to talk to somebody, I would recommend Dr. Christopher Van Shank. He can help you with addictions, depression, anxiety. He can also help kids with the same thing. He's been doing this for 15 years. He's been helping people, and he is here for you today. So if you want to check out his website is nolensvillepsychiatry.com. That's nolensvillepsychiatry.com. There's a whole list of issues that he can help you with. So check him out. If you feel like he can help you, give him a call. The number is below, and good luck.
The dual power of radio and digital advertising on Super Talk 99.7 WTN has always delivered for our local advertisers. Now's your chance to book your 2025 marketing campaign early for savings and incentives. Just reach out today to your local ad representative or go to to 997wtn.com/epic.
.729 Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Dan Mandis here. Get in the fight. Friends, we don't have to wait until November to start taking our country back. We can get into the fight right now with Coin, the conservatives' credit card. Instead of funneling millions of dollars to the left like other credit cards, Coin advances conservative values and charities. Earn cash back while fighting back. Apply right now at coin.com, COIGN, coin.com. Terms apply. Go to coin.com/disclosures for full disclosures. COIGN, coin.com, your conservative values credit card.
Good morning. It's 7:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Spring Hill police have been able to identify the woman who reportedly fired at least one shot inside a Target store last night after she and another woman got into a verbal altercation inside the Target store. Police say it happened in the Halloween section of the store. Lieutenant Michael Foster speaking to Channel 4.
I would imagine it was pretty unnerving. We don't see much violent crime here. Especially random violent crime. So whenever it does happen, it is a shock to the community. We're glad that nobody is hurt.
The suspect has reportedly given police a statement and is said to be cooperating. Murfreesboro police are trying to determine what caused a crash that killed a 14-year-old and injured 3 other people Tuesday morning. The teens were traveling in a sedan on Veterans Parkway when it collided with an SUV. Channel 4's Lydia Fielder.
Police say the SUV driver was trying to turn left onto Veterans Parkway right into the path of the sedan. The cars collided. The teens are all Blackman High School students and were coming back to school, we're told, after going to a state volleyball tournament at Rockvale High School.
The 14-year-old who was killed was in the front passenger seat. Police are trying to determine if excessive speed played a role. If you have a desire to go to the World Series this year, better have a big wallet, too. The average ticket price is right around $1,700 this year, according to reseller TickPick, more than double last year's average ticket price. Why so high? Well, likely because everyone wants to see the Dodgers' Shohei Ohtani and the Yankees' Aaron Judge. It's also the first time in more than 4 decades that the Yankees and Dodgers will meet in the World Series since 1981. The market numbers report brought
I'm sorry. Hey, Joan, I missed that. I was talking to Johnny. How much is the average ticket price?
$1,700.
Really?
Yep.
You know, my brother called me yesterday and he said, hey, guess where I'm going?
He's going to the World Series?
He's going to the World Series.
And how much did he pay?
He only paid $1,000 each.
Wow.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on where you're getting them from. This was from TickPick, and that's not a reseller I'm familiar with. I don't know if you are.
TickPick?
Yeah.
Nope. Never heard of it. I don't know where my brother got it from, but man, he was rubbing it in like you wouldn't believe. Because, when we were kids, 1977, 1978, 1981, it was Dodgers and Yankees.
Oh, so it was 1981 was the last time they met in the World Series, right?
Correct.
So, wow, this is a big deal.
Yeah, so, he's just, I know that Monday night when he's at Yankee Stadium, he's going to be sending me all kinds of pictures.
I hope he brings you back a plastic cup. That he drank the beer out of.
He'll bring me back a straw and it'll be used.
Or some dirt.
Yeah, exactly.
That might be valuable, dirt from the stadium. Sure.
Oh, no, it would be. My brother doesn't have the conniving nature that I do. Because, I kid you not, I would find a way to get on the field and grab some dirt. My brother would be like, why would you do that? He doesn't really understand me. Anyway, moving on.
Hey, you want me to tell you market numbers?
Sure.
Okay. So yesterday there were a lot of losses on the market. Today the Dow futures are down 51, but NASDAQ futures up 189 and the S&P futures gaining 29. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather. Next, I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 734 on Super Talk 99.7. Dan Mandis here. When the real estate market slows down, Mark Spain can really help you out with the guaranteed offer. Now, with the guaranteed offer, there's no showings, no open houses, and no stress. It is absolutely hassle-free. Fall can be a busy time, and trying to sell your home can be overwhelming. With the guaranteed offer, you'll be on the market, get an all-cash offer, and close within days. And the best part of all of this is no stress. Now, one of their clients, Walker, said we had to move fast, and we were worried the process would take too long, and we'd have to spend a lot of money on repairs. Mark Spain gave us an offer in 3 days for over our asking price. They've got over 12,500 five-star reviews, and you can trust Mark Spain to sell your home fast and for the most money. So call them at 855-299-SOLD, 855-299-SOLD. You can always find them online anytime, markspain.com, to find out what your guaranteed offer would be on your home today. That's markspain.com and start packing.
Well, let's see. 40 westbound Davidson-Wilson County line, a crash reported there. Lebanon Road at Crooks Lane, a crash reported. And 65 northbound at I-40, that's exit 59, an accident. Looks like there may be some delays around that. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about Spice and Easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
Hey everybody, Dan Mandis with Super Talk 99.7 WTN and Nashville's Morning News. Right now, we are bringing results for our clients using both our radio and digital assets. 2025 is going to be a huge year, not only here in Tennessee, but of course, across America. If you want to jump on board, again, we're offering great incentives. Find us online, 997WTN.com, and let's talk.
Hey, I'll say it. Thanks to Space Cowboy Coffee as well. They're going to be at our event, helping to keep us all awake. Find out more about Space Cowboy Coffee, spacecowboycoffee.com. It is what powers the morning show. 7:40 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is an embarrassment of riches today because we've got Kamala Harris and she's, really angry Kamala. We've got all different sides of Kamala today. We've got confused Kamala from the Telemundo interview. We've got angry Kamala from her out there talking about how Donald Trump's a fascist and he's channeling Adolf Hitler and all that kind of stuff. So we've got all the different sides of Kamala Harris. Of course, we're living with the incompetency of Kamala Harris every single day. But I'm also highlighting what happened last night in Georgia at I think Chris Hand called it yesterday, the mother of all Trump rallies. I mean, it was the MAGAist of all Trump rallies. And this is Tucker Carlson. More great audio from Tucker.
So here's my perspective. I think Donald Trump's going to win, which is amazing. And that's why I'm here. I'm not here because he's going to win. I'm here because I'm so thrilled by what I've watched over the past 9 years. This is the end of a redemption arc. I've really never seen anybody treated like Donald Trump was treated, ever. Yep. Anybody, ever.
Absolutely.
Attack him. I watched this all up close. Defame him. indict him, arrest him, let him get shot in the face, and he's going to win anyway. Oh!
Can you imagine? Now here's it. I love Tucker Carlson. He is one of my all-time favorites. There are times I get frustrated with Tucker, but there's also many times where I will watch him and just be in amazement at how good he is and how smart he is. And man, when you look at who is on the side of Donald Trump, you got Donald Trump. J.D. Vance is incredible. Tucker Carlson, Elon Musk. I mean, I could go on, but you look at who Trump's got on his side, and then you look at who Kamala Harris is taking around the country. Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney. Which, by the way, you know what I don't understand is that you've got Kamala Harris, who is screaming that Donald Trump is fascist and Hitler-like, yet she's got Dick Cheney on the campaign trail. They said the same thing about Dick Cheney.
Constantly,
Johnny.
Called him a war criminal.
They called him a war criminal. It is so bizarre. It's like Bizarro World.
And Trump has Tulsi Gabbard.
That's another great one. Who am I missing? I'm sure that I'm missing. I mean, really, that's enough. When you got Elon Musk, Tulsi Gabbard, you've got Tucker Carlson. I think J.D. Vance is just incredible as well. I can't say enough good things about J.D. Vance. And so you've got this incredible array of politicians and media folks. Trump's going to go on Joe Rogan. I don't know. How do you think that's going to go, Johnny? You think that's going to go? I think that's going to go good.
I think it will, too.
I think that Rogan's going to be like, because, Donald Trump, let's face it, he's somewhat unflappable. As Tucker Carlson just said, dude got shot in the face. He got shot in the ear. And he gets up and he says, fight.
Joe Rogan is not a fan of Donald Trump whatsoever, however.
Exactly, Joan. But that's why this is going to be such a good time.
Yeah.
It's such a good interview.
Yeah.
Well, and the great thing is Joe Rogan says that he's a libertarian.
Right.
And I think Donald Trump is more libertarian than anybody out there, to be quite honest.
But Joe Rogan also expresses a lot of frustration with Kamala Harris and Democrats, and especially on the issue of transgenderism with children. Because he's a dad of two young girls, he is really
tuned into that.
Yeah, he's ticked off about that issue. So I feel like he's swayable, but he's not gonna allow Donald Trump to skate.
No, and that's why Kamala Harris, my bold talk show host prediction, it's not really bold, is that Kamala Harris will not go on Joe Rogan's show.
No.
Because you'll notice, and we talked about this yesterday, or at least I talked about this yesterday, where she does these interviews, and I played an example, I think, in the last segment in Telemundo, where they ask her a question and she gets right back to her talking points. There's like a sentence or two, and then she'll find a pivot back to the talking point without actually answering the question. And Joe Rogan, as I said yesterday, he doesn't care about access. All these other media outlets, NBC, CBS, ABC, and all these whatevers, they care about access, and they have an agenda. What I mean by access is that if you ask her the wrong questions, or if you don't adhere to any specific rules for an interview, then you don't get that interview. Joe Rogan doesn't care about that. That's why I don't believe that Kamala Harris will go on Joe Rogan's show. I think that there's going to be some moments where they agree to disagree, but Joe Rogan is wicked smart. Like people think that he's a meathead, and I'm not saying that as a critic of Joe Rogan. I think he's phenomenal, but I think he fools people. Like, I've watched him, and he's got this way where he'll ask a very biting and searing question, and you don't even know it's coming. And he'll just ask it in a way where he'll catch somebody off guard. Now, I believe that Donald Trump, again, I think that Trump is unflappable. They're probably going to have some times where they're going to argue, or at the very least, have a good discussion, like a really good nuts and bolts policy kind of discussion. And Rogan, I don't believe that he'll allow Trump to go into talking point mode. And I don't think that Trump really does that. But Kamala Harris clearly does. And that's why she won't go on Joe Rogan. Have you heard that we were talking earlier about McDonald's and the whole hysteria thing? And yesterday at 8:35, we're talking about the conspiracy theories that all of us have. That isn't it bizarre how you've got Donald Trump working at a McDonald's and all four of us were like, conspiracy theorists that we are, we're like, well, that's a coincidence. Donald Trump works at McDonald's and then all of a sudden they get hit with this listeria thing.
Yeah.
The McDonald's owner out there in Georgia where Donald Trump worked, for an hour, whatever it was.
No, that was in Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania. That's what I said. Pennsylvania. Thank you.
Yeah.
They've now had to hire armed guards.
Isn't that so sad?
Oh, my gosh.
It's infuriating that had to happen.
What is wrong with you saw in Mount Juliet, John, you guys don't live in MJ like I do. There's a bunch of Trump signs. Amy and I saw it, and this was in the news. There's a bunch of Trump signs off of 70, Lebanon Road, whatever it is. And they got, spray painted over. And
with felon and rapist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my thing is, and Amy and I were talking about it because, I saw that and I'd forgotten about the story. I instantly got sort of like really ticked off. And of course I start monologuing in the car and Amy loves when I do that. So, but Amy said, and I think that this is the right thing to do, and this is what they're doing. They're leaving those signs up because that is indicative of the intolerance of the left. And so at a time when we have Kamala Harris out there, she's calling Donald Trump a fascist and Hitler. We've got people that are, earlier, I'll play the audio again for Chris Hand at 8:35. You got people walking up to the front door of Donald Trump supporters and knocking on the door and yelling at the homeowners who have the Trump Vance signs out front and say, how could you? He's so immoral. We're seeing that. We're talking about, all of us have been talking about this the last couple of weeks. I think it was in Pennsylvania where people had Trump signs in their front yards and they're getting letters in the mail that are threatening. Yet the media won't call out the abhorrent behavior of Kamala Harris supporters, of Democrats. And you see this time and time again. And it's, honestly, that's why I love what Tucker Carlson said, because he is so positive and he is so excited and he does believe that Donald Trump is going to win. I hope and pray, and I do believe that Donald Trump is going to win. But let me tell you something, man. I am walking on eggshells because it is going to be really close. And I'm confident, but what have I said all along? For 4 years, I've been saying this election has got to be a landslide because of the Democrats' ability to cheat, their ground game, however you want to call it, their ability to magically just come up with a bunch of ballots. And this year, I was talking to Hans von Spakovsky a couple of days ago. You can find it on the podcast. Republicans are really worried about the massive amounts of overseas ballots, to the point now where the Republicans have, filed some lawsuits and they've lost those lawsuits. But this is going to be a really, really big worry. And so for Republicans, I'm excited. You can't tell me that the Democrats are excited about their candidate because they keep talking about ours. 7:52 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, the Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986. Joan Jones is here. She's got the news today. Joan, what's coming up?
Well, we've got an update on 2 missing Nashville boys. And is 36% pay raise enough? Boeing machinists say no. Those stories and more at 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. It's 7:52. Dan Mandis here. Now is the time to call my friends at Cove Generators because right now they're offering you a free 7-year warranty from Cove Generators. That is over $1,000 value. So if you've ever wanted a backup home standby generator, now is the time to do it. Plus, great financing options as well. they are available. Now, they are your premier Generac home standby generator dealer in the state of Tennessee. So be prepared for the next power outage and call my friends at Cove Generators and never lose power again. That phone number, always tell them Dan told you to reach out, 931-559-3311. Again, tell them Dan told you to reach out. You will get that free 7-year warranty, over $1,000 value. My buddy Generator Dave and the entire team at Cove Generators, they are there to answer all of your questions about how to keep the power on when the outages happen. Again, Cove Generators, you can get your backup home standby generator from Cove Generators. Find them online at covegenerators.com, 931-559-3311.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
.757 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. Okay, coming up after the news at 8. You know, North Korea now has these soldiers that are fighting with Russia against Ukraine. I'm going to speak to a Russian expert. She literally wrote the book on Vladimir Putin, and we're going to talk to her straight ahead, find out what her analysis is on all of this. My analysis is that we've got a weak commander-in-chief. We're going to have a weak, we have a weak vice president. Lord help us if she wins. We'll have an even weaker president if Kamala Harris wins. But we'll find out her analysis coming up next. It's 7:57 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, 8 o'clock here, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We're at 52, and our high temp today in the sunshine, we're around 78. Stick around. There is some traffic to tell you about, too, right after the news. The woman who allegedly fired a gun inside a Target in Spring Hill last night during an argument with another woman has now been identified. She is a 24-year-old from Colombia, although police aren't releasing her name. Spring Hill police were able to identify her from surveillance video. She's reportedly cooperating with police and has given them a statement. Fortunately, no one was hurt. An update now on the two missing children from Nashville. TBI detectives have located the 1-year-old and 3-month-old brothers in Hermitage. They were safe. Their mother, who did not have custody of the boys, has been arrested. Sarah Jane Featherman is her name. She was also charged with stealing a vehicle. Federal health officials are working to trace down the source of an E. coli outbreak blamed for dozens of illnesses and one death from McDonald's. So far, evidence points to the slivered onions used only on the McDonald's Quarter Pounder and only in restaurants in 10 states.
Dr. Raynard Washington, the health director in Mecklenburg County, North Carolina, says McDonald's sheer size makes an outbreak harder to manage.
It can spread easily, especially when we have exposures in a wide geographic area.
McDonald's USA President Joe Erlinger has pulled the Quarter Pounder from 20% of the chain's locations.
This is a temporary change as the investigation continues.
McDonald's stock price plunged 5% yesterday, the company losing $11 billion in value. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Tens of thousands of Boeing workers are still on strike today after the members of the Machinists Union voted down the latest contract proposal, which gave them a 35% 5% pay raise over 4 years.
The union has said that they want 40% and they want pensions to be reinstated. And with this strike ongoing, Boeing has already announced plans to soon lay off 17,000 workers. That is 10% of their global workforce. As on top of that, in an earnings call, they announced more than $6 billion in losses.
That's ABC's Trevor Alt reporting. And a beloved grizzly bear has been struck and killed by a vehicle in Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. Grizzly Bear 399, as she was known, was identified by a tag attached to her ear. The yearling that was with her has disappeared into the woods. Grizzly Bear 399 was known around the world. At 28 years old, she was the oldest known grizzly to be still reproducing in the greater Yellowstone ecosystem. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. We're about a half hour from the opening bell here, and after big losses on Wall Street yesterday, the Dow futures are down 47 points, but NASDAQ futures are up 175, S&P futures gaining 25. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, in Hermitage at 40 westbound before Old Hickory Boulevard, there is a crash and the right shoulder is blocked off, and traffic is stop and go up to that point. A crash involving injuries on 65 southbound at the I-24 downtown exit 86. Another crash in Paytonsville. This is the right lane being blocked off 840 westbound before I-65. And a crash reported as well on Lebanon Road at Crooks Lane. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Information fueled, opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
8:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. It is Thursday, October 24th. Hope you're doing well. And man, there is so much going on. I want to welcome on in to the Newsmaker Hotline our guest, Rebecca Koffler, a former DIA intelligence officer, Defense Intelligence Agency, the author of a best-selling book, Vladimir Putin's Playbook, and the host of Censored But Not Silenced podcast. Rebecca, you are very well respected in the circles of foreign policy, and I appreciate you being here on Nashville's Morning News. So a couple of things real quick. We're talking about the 3,000 North Korean troops that have joined Vladimir Putin. The latest now shows that that's now increased to 12,000 or will increase to 12,000 in, I guess, the next couple of weeks or whatever it is. Were you surprised that North Korea joined Vladimir Putin and Russia? It seems to me some people are saying that these guys are just being sold to Vladimir Putin.
Good morning, Dan, and everybody. Pleasure to be here. No, I was not surprised at all. You see, Putin has assembled an anti-U.S., anti-Western axis of forces that include not only Russia, but also China, Iran, and North Korea, because he has concluded that Russia's break with the United States and the West is permanent, and he wants to make sure that he wins this war in Ukraine, and not only that, that if the United States decides to directly intervene in the kinetic conflict, that there's an entire anti-Western coalition that will come to Russia's rescue.
So when you say that China and Iran are also involved in this, I mean, they don't have troops, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I am. Iran and China doesn't have troops right there embedded with Russia, but that's more as far as arms go and support, maybe communications and drones?
Right. So troops is not the only thing that is required to win wars. There's a thing called combat potential that includes weapon systems, troops, defense economics, and military-industrial complex. So when it comes to weapon systems, Iran has provided drones to Russia, and North Korea also has provided 155 millimeter shells that are required, and China has provided different components that go into Russia's weapon systems, and China rather, has also helped Russia, as well as North Korea and Iran, by the way, to evade sanctions. Remember, Putin sanction-proofed his economy 7 years prior to the invasion of Ukraine, and therefore sanctions are practically ineffective. And because China, Iran, and North Korea for years have been using clandestine networks to push various military components, Russia now is using those clandestine networks, and that's just how things work. Putin has thought pretty much a lot of things through before the invasion, not after, like the Pentagon is doing.
Ukraine has come out and said that, all right, well, you know what, if North Korean troops are going to join the Russians, then they're fair game. One of the questions I would have is, okay, so then what would or should be the United States and our reaction to this, if anything, other than just ramping up what we're already doing?
Well, it depends on what it is that we want to achieve. And to this day, it is not clear to anyone really what the Pentagon's and the Biden administration intention is for this war.
It's a blank check, Rebecca. My opinion is that this is a policy of blank check. Every time you turn around, you know, Ukraine is getting another $450 million. And so to me, I've been very frustrated at exactly what you're saying, which is, what is the end game? There just seems to be a lack of policy.
Absolutely. And let me just remind what Karl von Clausewitz, the preeminent Prussian military strategist, said about getting into the war. No one starts a war, or rather, no one in his senses ought to do so without first being clear in his mind what he intends to achieve by that war and how he intends to conduct it. Well, the Pentagon doesn't have an aim. Like you said, it's a blank check, and the American people have already, as nice as we are, we're frustrated that there's never enough money to help the American people who are suffering with the Biden and Harris administration inflicted economic downturn. and the pain that is inflicted on the hurricanes, but there's always enough money to give to someone else. And for what purpose? So Ukraine right now is being destroyed by Putin, and we, unfortunately and regretfully, enabling that destruction. 50% of Ukraine's critical infrastructure is destroyed, according to the United Nations. And Putin has positioned Russia on a wartime footing to fight indefinitely, because for him, this is existential. It's his version of the Monroe Doctrine. And so no amount of money is going to pave the way for Ukraine's victory. It's mathematically impossible. And so we are in this never-ending war right now because nobody can climb down the tree. We've climbed up so high because right now the Pentagon cannot really step back because then they would have a huge egg on their faces. Victory to Putin is not something that we want to do. And yet, Ukraine right now is being effectively used as a human shield by the Europeans, who did not want to pay for their own security. That's why Putin invaded. And so, yes, it's going to be more and more and more destruction.
Rebecca, I've got to ask, I think we all know that weakness emboldens strong men like Vladimir Putin. And I think that when you look back on this, journey that we've all been on dealing with Russia and Ukraine for the last many years, I think we can all agree, maybe you disagree, I don't know, I've never spoken to you before, but when the failed pullout of Afghanistan happened, Vladimir Putin better than most. I think that was a signal, though, that he was dealing with a weak administration. The sanctions were weak as well, and that really was a green light for Putin to go into Ukraine. I guess my question is, if Kamala Harris wins the election, do you think that this kind of behavior from Vladimir Putin will continue?
Oh, absolutely. There's nothing that Putin wants more right now than for Kamala Harris to win the election. The Russian intelligence services, just like our U.S. intelligence services, we do profiling, psychological and character and physical profiling of foreign leaders. So the Russian intelligence services have profiled Kamala Harris as vapid, incompetent, and unintelligent. And they also have concluded that Kamala Harris will take the United States on a path to socialism, which destroyed the USSR. And so that is good for Russia. And therefore, Putin is already preparing what it is that he's going to do. But if you allow me, you mentioned Afghanistan and whether that is what gave the green light to Putin. I would like to clarify why Putin did not invade during the presidency of Donald Trump. It is not just the perception of weakness, but it is the true understanding of Putin's mindset and his strategy that President Trump possessed, and Putin knew that. President Trump took action that basically struck at the heart of Putin's anti-U.S. strategy, because the war is really not between Russia and Ukraine. It's a proxy war between Moscow and Washington. And so President Trump understood Russia's strategy, and he's done the following thing. He stood up U.S. Space Force, right? Why is that? It's because Russia, by the way, stood up their Space Forces in 2001. 18 years before we did ours. Why? It's because they know that the U.S. conducts warfare through satellites. Everything from command and control, navigation, missile warning, communication with forces is with the satellites. Well, the Russians plan to target our satellites during the time of war with destructive action, and also in the run-up to the war, and even in peacetime with non-destructive actions such as GPS jamming. And that's what the space is for. Well, Trump understood that, and he said, we're going to do to the Russians the same thing that they want to do to us. The second thing that he did was he authorized offensive cyber operations against the Russians to counter Russia's space warfare doctrine. The third thing, there are really 5 things. I have a piece written about it in the Federalist. Anybody can go read it. Why the only U.S. president that Putin feared was Trump. So I'm only going to mention 3 here for the sake of time. So the third one is President Trump authorized the development of a low-yield tactical nuclear warhead for our Navy to be deployed on a cruise missile, sea-launched. And that was countering Putin's escalate to de-escalate doctrine. Putin knew how well Trump understands, and that's why he didn't do it. Well, Biden came to power, and first of all, he canceled that tactical nuclear warhead on a cruise missile. Yep. And then what he did, he basically removed U.S. advantage in energy production by canceling the Keystone Pipeline, which enabled Putin's defense budget to rise 50%, and that's how the war machine was financed. So there are a lot of moving parts here, and Putin understands that Trump understands him better, and Kamala doesn't.
Well, I mean, you just defined peace through strength. I mean, for Donald Trump, he was strong, and therefore, and he did the various things that you just mentioned that he did. Some I didn't know about, so I'm going to go and read that piece. But for Donald Trump, he exhibited strength through his words, his actions, his policy, and that did keep Vladimir Putin at bay. Now, here's the big question. Donald Trump says that he can wrap this thing up in a day, even before he's elected. I'm not going to lead the witness. I've got my own ideas, but what do you think about that?
What do I think about that? I
Yeah.
think it is viable, and I think it is the only sensible solution to do right now to prevent the destruction of Ukraine. So, unlike Kamala Harris, the Russian intelligence services have profiled President Trump as unpredictable. Yes. And that is the hardest thing for them to wrap their brain about. And so Trump is a very skilled negotiator. He's a business person, remember? And so when Trump starts negotiating with Putin, Putin is not going to know whether Trump is bluffing or not. Trump demonstrated that he's not afraid to spill the blood of the Russian forces. In Syria, Trump had authorized the destruction, or a missile strike rather, that killed about 300 Russian mercenaries, the Wagner Group. And Putin did not blink. He just ate it. There was no retaliation. And so when negotiation proceeds, the Russians are going to have a very hard time assessing President Trump. And he will likely get a better deal for Ukraine, President Trump will, than anyone else would. No, I can't promise that Putin is going to give back the 20% of Ukraine's territory that Russian military controls now. But hands down, President Trump is the only person who's going to get a better deal.
Is part of that forcing Ukraine and Zelensky to the table? Because right now Zelensky is like arms folded, stamping his feet, saying he's not going to go to the negotiating table with Vladimir Putin. Is it just as simple, and we've only got about 90 seconds left, is it as simple as that, telling Zelensky that the faucet of money is going to stop unless he goes to the negotiating table?
Yes, it is. Zelensky is behaving the way that he's behaving, setting unachievable war goals, is because he's been allowed to. Remember, every single time he came to Washington, he walked away with billions and billions of dollars. And we're right now depleting our own weapons arsenal, flowing this weaponry to Ukraine, right? Which is absolutely idiotic things to do. And someone needs to put their foot down so that Zelensky accepts reality.
Rebecca, I hope you'll come back because you are amazing, and I very much appreciate you joining us here at Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Rebecca Koffler is our guest, and I got to tell you, there's so much there to talk about. And we'll continue that conversation another time. Her book, by the way, is she's a former DIA intelligence officer, the author of a best-selling book, Putin's Playbook, the host of Censored But Not Silenced podcast. And again, Rebecca, we'll have you on again soon if you'll come on, and very much appreciate the call. 8:23 on Nashville's Morning News. Joan Jones is going to do the news at 8:30. Joan, what do we got?
Well, President Trump's very busy schedule takes him westward today. Also, an arrest now in the case of a mother and daughter hit head-on Nolensville Pike. That's all coming up at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. It is 8:23, Super Talk 99.7, and the Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986. Friends, don't wait until November. Probably the number one question I get from listeners is, how can I get in the conservative fight? Well, it's critical to know where your dollars are going. Now, most credit cards are funneling millions of dollars to the left, but these days you do have a choice. Coin is America's conservative credit card. You earn cash back while fighting the liberal agenda. Apply right now at coin.com. Spelling is important. Coin.com, C-O-I-G-N, coin.com. Terms apply. Go to coin.com/disclosures for full details. C-O-I-G-N, coin.com. Coin is your conservative values credit card.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Hey everybody, Dan Mandis with Nashville's Morning News and Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I was speaking to Dr. Christopher Van Shank the other day at a station event. Now, he's a psychiatrist, and he was telling me about the mental health crisis here in America. And as you know, it's out of control. The COVID lockdowns were an absolute disaster. And Dr. Van Shank, again, he's a psychiatrist. And if you're one of those people, you feel like maybe you need to talk to somebody, I would recommend Dr. Christopher Van Shank. He can help you with addictions, depression, anxiety. He can also help kids with the same thing. He's been doing this for 15 years. He's been helping people, and he is here for you today. So if you want to check out his website is nolensvillepsychiatry.com. That's nolensvillepsychiatry.com. There's a whole list of issues that he can help you with. So check him out. If you feel like he can help you, give him a call. The number is below, and good luck.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
828 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here along with Joan Jones and Johnny B. Hey, guys. I just got a text message from Chris Hand.
Uh-huh.
And he says that he's running a little late. So
if he running with Mason?
If he doesn't...
That's
wow, Johnny throwing it down.
That's a joke.
So if Chris isn't here on time, we're going to start talking about him behind his back.
I don't know if it's behind his back since he can hear us.
Yes, he can.
Yeah.
Isn't his voice annoying? It's like so like deep and just radio friendly. I hate his voice because it's so much better than mine. I'm just kidding. We love you, Chris.
Yes, we do.
Don't worry if you're late.
No, don't worry.
Because you're going to continue on after 9 o'clock?
Actually...
I mean, I'm just asking.
Like
Somebody must know.
You know what? I actually didn't think about that. But no, Joan, I won't be.
So
you know, we're gonna put the Cars for Kids jingle on a loop.
Oh.
You know what we're gonna do, Chris? If you don't make it on time, the audience gets it. We're gonna put Cars for Kids on a loop.
Yeah, and Kamala Harris.
Audio
nonstop.
You know what? We'll put together a super mix of Kamala Harris laughing at the Cars for Kids jingle. That's what we'll do.
Her greatest hits.
Moving right along.
We
8:30.
will not unburden anybody with that.
No. I'd like to unburden America with Kamala Harris on November 5th. I wonder how. Okay, so coming up, we're going to take a bet. I want to see. We should do a. You guys want to do this? Do you want to do a station bet on what day we believe that we'll find out who won the election?
Oh.
Like everybody do little predictions on the morning show, the Gang of Four. So we'll all do our election predictions coming up on Nashville's Morning News. Dan Mandis here. It is October, and that means that Halloween is just a few weeks away. And Busy Bee is celebrating by giving you some great deals on your HVAC and plumbing. Now, they are your Rude Pro partners, and yes, they are giving you 50% off of a furnace inspection and 20% off of any furnace repair work at the time of service. How about $300 off of an ultraviolet home treatment system installation? And remember the Beehive Club, my favorite. As Beehive members, you'll receive 3 annual tune-ups, 1 cooling, 1 heating, and 1 plumbing. 10% off of all repairs, priority front-of-the-line service, no overtime or holiday fees, and so much more for as little as $99. Mention my name when you call. Their phone number is 615-775-7833. I've been a Beehive member for years. I've had them install a new system, fix an old one, and maintain all my units as well. Outstanding customer service, and simply put, they do great work. Call them 615-775-7833, busybhvac.com.
Good morning. It's now 8:31, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Got your forecast and traffic coming up. Former President Donald Trump heads west today with a packed schedule ahead.
Today, Donald Trump campaigns in Arizona, 2 states with 17 electoral votes between them, where registered Republicans now outnumber Democrats among those mailing or casting early votes. Tomorrow, Trump heads to Texas for a taping of the popular Joe Rogan podcast. Then he's on to Michigan and Pennsylvania, and on Sunday, he'll be in his hometown of New York for a rally at Madison Square Garden.
ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy there. Vice President Kamala Harris is in Georgia today. She'll make her first appearance with former President Barack Obama. Police have made an arrest in the case of a Honduran man wanted for crashing head-on into a mom and daughter riding a scooter on Nolensville Pike, but they didn't arrest the suspect. They got his nephew, who admits to assisting his uncle, Danira Zuniga, to cross the border into Mexico. That nephew is now in jail. 10-year-old Emily Sanchez Ramirez was killed in that crash. Her mother, Laura, remains hospitalized. More trouble for Boeing. 33,000 workers who are on strike rejected a new contract offer. The news comes as Boeing announced a $6 billion loss in the third quarter.
By 64%, Boeing's workers voted no to the latest contract offer. It would have come with a 35% pay raise, but it did not include the return of their pensions, which went away a decade ago. The workers are adamant they must get their traditional pensions back or no deal. Boeing has indicated that will never happen, especially in 2024 when few companies still have pensions, let alone bring them back. So for now, the 737, 767, and 777 factories remain shut down, and the strike goes on today. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Moments after the opening bell here, and the Dow Jones Industrials are falling 72. NASDAQ is up 85. S&P is gaining 10 right now. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather. Next, I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 8:34, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. So a couple of weeks ago, I went to the Glock store, had a lot of fun shooting at their Halloween shoot house. Now, it's basically a course where you're firing for 90 seconds. You see how well you do on this Halloween-themed course. It was a lot of fun. They've got smoke and displays, and yes, it was a lot of fun. They're actually putting a video together. I think it may be posted by now over at their website, shoot270.com. You can check it out there. But it's also a competition. You can win a Glock. You register to win, again, at shoot270.com. Now, they can do this in one of their massive rooms because they can. Lane ranges, they will tell you, and I will tell you, I agree. Lane ranges are really limited. What the Glock store does is so unique because you can train in their massive rooms and also have fun with this Halloween-themed shooting contest. So check them out online, shoot270.com, and their Halloween shoot house. Maybe even win a new Glock. Have some fun as well. Find out more information online, shoot270.com. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. The Glock store, minutes from the airport and worth a drive from anywhere.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Hey, I'm Joan Jones on Super Talk 99.7. And you know, the dual power of radio and digital has always been such a plus for our advertisers. So if you're thinking about your 2025 plans, make sure you check us out at 997wtn.com/epic. Go there now.
8:39, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time for the gang of what usually is 4.
Yes.
Chris Hand is making his way. Oh, come on in, Chris.
He made it.
He made it.
What a guy.
Chris, you're 20 seconds late, you son of a beep.
It was all those threats that you issued.
It was. Was it the
fashionably late?
Was it the threats that I made that we're going to talk about you behind your back?
No, that actually made me want to stall.
And then
it was the Cards for Kids commercial.
That's it.
And the nonstop Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Audio.
Did you like what I said about your stupid radio voice that's so much better than mine?
Made me feel good.
See, the funny thing is I have such an appreciation for Chris. I actually, even if you held a gun to my head, I could not think of one bad thing to say about Chris.
You really can't.
I'm sure.
I really can't.
I'm sure you could come up with something.
It's not what you said earlier.
Joan.
Yes.
Shut up, Joan. I'm just kidding.
And by the way, Chris, you were just fashionably late.
Hey, I had to make an entrance.
That's
What's
right.
up, boys?
Right.
What's up, Joan?
How bad were the roads?
So I always find myself with this decision to make.
Yeah.
Because I can either stay on 840 and go to 65, or I can go to 24. And there's always do I want to go 20 extra miles for 12 minutes? And this morning I was like, yes, I need to go that 20 extra miles for 12 minutes. And it got me. It got me.
Bet you.
You've got gray in your beard.
I got gray everywhere.
Have you seen that? Have you
He's got
noticed that?
kids. He's got 1 million children. Of course he's got gray.
It's all these kids.
How old are you?
36.
I didn't start getting gray in my beard until in my 40s.
I was gray. I started turning gray at 33.
When did you start losing your hair, though, Dan?
Dun, dun.
Listen, Johnny and I know there's nothing wrong with a little, salt in the
Salt and pepper,
in the beard. No, not at all. Yeah. I was just shocked because I've never noticed that before.
Yeah, I got a lot of grays. I know which kid did it.
Oh, yeah.
That's very funny.
I know that feeling.
Speaking of the kids, I do have to give a shout out to my boys. Our Little League team, the Padres, won a playoff game last night.
Oh,
did they?
Yeah. So we were balling out.
You what?
We were balling out.
You were crying a lot?
No. We were balling. We were balling on the field. You guys, you're unfamiliar with balling? Not with a W. It's balling out.
Okay.
Crickets.
We were balling.
You know what?
Sure.
Translation is?
We were hitting dingers. We were doing good.
Dingers, I know.
Okay.
Hey, you excited about the Yankees?
I'm actually surprised you guys don't know balling out. You guys not familiar with Jim Jones and ballin' from back in the day?
No. Jim Jones,
not the cult leader. No, the guy from the Diplomats, Dipset, Harlem.
Anybody?
Man, I am just
unfamiliar.
clueless.
I'm totally cool.
Yeah.
There's some people on the super text line that know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I see. When you said balling out, I mean, the first thing I think of goes to something dirty.
Dan, it's a family show.
I'm thinking of kids crying on the field.
Or that.
Yeah.
Anyway, congratulations. Good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Did you have a big hand in the victory yourself?
Oh, I'm a coach, so I take most of the credit.
So you stole the signals from the other team and
exactly
all that kind of stuff.
You have lip readers watching them talk to their players.
Where do you stand on bean balls for 6-year-olds?
Bean balls?
Beanball.
I don't know what you mean.
Boy, we're having.
You don't know what a bean ball is?
Fill me in, Dave.
High and tight to the head. Goose Gossage from back in the day.
All right.
Randy Johnson?
I don't feel good about it. I remember that time he killed a bird.
Have you ever watched that?
Yes.
Have you ever watched it in slow motion? So Randy Johnson, for you folks that don't know, Randy Johnson was left-handed pitcher that could routinely throw the ball 100 miles an hour plus. The most incredible moment I think I've ever seen where in baseball was he is pitching, a bird flies in front of the pitcher's mound, and just as Johnson releases a 100-mile-an-hour fastball,
he kills the bird?
Hits the bird, and feathers are flying everywhere.
You guys haven't seen that?
I don't think I have.
Oh, my gosh.
You should YouTube it real quick while we're in the break. It's like a 6-second clip, but it is, I don't want to, I'm not here to advocate for birds. by any stretch of the imagination.
That was certainly proof, though, that they exist.
Yeah, that bird existed.
all those feathers.
For a moment in time, he existed, and then he ceased to exist.
That is the epitome of poof.
It was the craziest thing. It just, all of a sudden, he throws a fastball and then feathers.
I just saw it.
Isn't that crazy? Johnny, have you ever seen it?
I have not seen it.
Okay. Well, Johnny can't look at it right now because he's got some great audio from Michael Keaton.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got a couple of TDS moments here that I've got one and Johnny's got one that we both wanted to play for you. Now, personally, I thought that Michael Keaton was a terrible Batman. And
whoa!
And
I liked his Batman.
Whoa, we don't have to throw accusations around like that, Dan.
I mean, no. But
And I also think that movie that he's in right now, we're not supposed to say his name more than once, is also really bad.
Boy, you're
what's the name of the movie I'm thinking about?
Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Why don't you use the one that really stunk, Birdman?
Actually, I liked Birdman.
You liked Birdman?
I'm the only person in America that liked Birdman.
I was so angry because I'd heard so much about Birdman. I spent money on this piece of crap.
Wow.
After I got done, I said, this proves Hollywood is out to lunch.
Yeah.
I was not a big fan of Beetlejuice. It's a very controversial thing in my house. So
Underrated Michael Keaton movie, and it's timely because of the Trump McDonald's visit. The Founder, which is about the founder of McDonald's. Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
That was a great movie.
So who was the best Batman? What was it? You guys think it was Michael Keaton?
I do think Michael Keaton.
I liked Michael Keaton in Batman a lot.
I thought Christian Bale was okay. I didn't go for the constant shouting like this.
But they all do.
Yeah.
You
all
nailed
do
that, though. You could do Batman for Halloween.
Yes, I could.
So I think Christian Bale benefited from Heath Ledger.
Yeah,
and I think we look at him with rose-colored glasses. But Michael Keaton wasn't as bad as George Clooney or Val Kilmer.
Ooh.
No, I liked. I didn't really like the Batman movies. Be honest with you,
really?
I didn't like. No, I really didn't. I like the Avengers movies. I like those and some of the other ones. Anyway, play the Michael Keaton audio.
Okay, here he is.
We went off on a tangent.
Yes, we did.
Sure did.
And now he does.
Hey, hi, Michael. You know, for some of you folks who, guys mostly, I guess, who are thinking about attending a rally with Musk and Trump, they don't really respect you. They laugh at you behind your back. They think you're stupid. They don't want to hang out with you. They have nothing in common with you. They're not your bros. And I'm telling you, when Trump, years ago, I guess, said, I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and they'd still vote for me, basically what he's saying in parentheses is, these people are so stupid, they're so dumb, they'd still vote for me. They have no respect for you. Trust me.
You know, I didn't realize he was such a jackass.
I didn't know they had Diddy tapes on him.
Ooh.
Oh.
You throwing that down?
I didn't know. I don't know. Do they? It seems like
Back to the bat cave, Mike.
So for Michael Keaton's attorneys that are pulling tapes right now, that was Chris Hand that said that.
I mean, to me, it seems like he basically described the Democrat Party itself.
Well, here's the deal.
Wow.
What in the world?
That was interesting.
Dropped my phone.
Oh, okay. Good Lord.
It made a neat sound.
It hit the little circle thing under my chair, and then it reverberated.
Okay.
Yeah, it did. It sounded really cool.
I thought that was Michael Keaton sending the bat signal to kill us.
I thought it was him taking his brain out to play with it.
So, the funny thing, though, is that, like, Donald Trump has been hanging out in barbershops and bodegas. It's like, what is he talking about?
When Michael Keaton says, they don't want to hang out with you, I'd be like, Mike, do you want to hang out with me? Because that's probably a hard no.
See, that's the thing. But see, Trump derangement syndrome seems to be everywhere. We played this audio of an old lady earlier. I don't know if you heard it, but woman's got a Trump Vance sign in the front yard, and this old lady knocks on the door.
Shameful. Are you the one that walks by here and always screaming at people? No, I haven't walked by recently. Okay, because a lot of people walk by and scream.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah,
She said, "Are you the old lady that walks by here and screams at people?" And she goes, "No, I haven't done that recently."
Yeah. Define recently.
That tells you something.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. You are voting for the devil. Don't you know that? No. Why are you voting for him? Because I believe he is the moral candidate. Oh, my God. F*** you for that one. That's moral? That's how your side acts. Oh, my God. He's the most immoral person around. In your opinion, that's okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Have a nice day. Have a nice day. God bless you.
That's my favorite. That's as close as we can get to a Tennessee bless your heart. I don't know what it was. God bless you.
God bless you.
She was middle fingering all the way down the walkway.
She's going to be walking by and screaming a little bit more recently next time.
I mean, she's right up there with the woman who we were talking about this earlier, who was on her knees when Donald Trump was being sworn in, I think it was, and she's screaming no.
We don't have to make Kamala Harris jokes.
That was a planned, like the scream in. People actually showed up to scream on purpose so that they could let out their frustration over Donald Trump being.
Was that what that
elected.
was, Joan?
Yeah.
Were you there? You weren't there, but were you there? No. That was
part of the crowd?
No, that was Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
So that's what the deal was. That was like a
scream in.
A primal scream in.
Or you could have a cry in with Martha Raddatz.
Oh, my gosh. You know what I think we need to do is if Trump wins, I think we need to go to Costco and send 1,000 boxes of Kleenex to Martha Raddatz.
That'd be great.
Ooh.
The way we used to mail bricks, we should mail boxes of Kleenex.
Yes.
That's exactly what we need to do.
You wanted to do predictions on when we think the election's going to be settled.
I did.
Should we do that?
You want to do it?
Yeah.
You want to do it? All right, what do you got?
I got Friday at 4 o'clock.
Friday,
day after the election.
Would that be the 9th?
The 6th.
6th?
Right? No, sorry. Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wednesday.
So you
6th.
think it's going to be Wednesday?
Wednesday the 6th at 4 o'clock.
But you are more confident than I am.
Oh, you're not kidding.
Yeah,
I think
me
with
too.
the early votes that we're getting, and then by the time that they're getting these ballots in Michigan and Georgia, I think that you're going to have news desks calling.
All right, hold on. So we're. All right, I want to make sure we have this clear. We're talking about declared the winner by the Associated Press. They're usually the ones that do it first, I think, right, Joan? So
yes,
yeah. So
the day after by 4 o'clock.
They're not the first, but they are the
official,
official legitimate. Yeah.
Okay.
Even though, never mind, I won't go there.
I love how they're the official legitimate one, but have you seen the AP lately?
It's so bad. It's so bad.
All right. So real quick, because we're way running out of time. Johnny, what do you got?
I got after all the lawsuits and everything are over, they'll declare the winner in December.
Whoa.
December 11th, I'll say.
I'm going to take Friday the 8th because all the bad news, the news dump happens on Fridays. So if Kamala Harris loses, it's going to be on Friday at 5 o'clock so that they can weep the weekend.
Okay. So they can get the forces ready.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Get the National Guard out for the Democrats.
Sure.
All right. I'm going to say, you said Friday, that's an 8th, Joan?
Friday is the 8th.
I'm going to say Wednesday the 14th. There you go. No
Did you write
rhyme
them
or
all
reason.
down?
I just want to be contrarian.
Hold on. Did you write it all down?
I did. It's right here.
Okay, so what's the bet? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Somebody buying lunch, some donuts.
Sure.
Loser has to watch a Michael Keaton movie.
Has to watch Birdman.
That's actually pretty funny. You know what? I don't know. Maybe the there's going to be 3 losers and 1 winner.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, we also got to who's closest, right?
Are we doing Price is Right rules? Closest without going over?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Closest without going over.
Good.
All right. Very good. We'll have to figure out, some sort of a prize or whatever. We'll figure it out. Joan, 854. What's up?
We can take suggestions from the super text line.
Sure. 615-737-9986.
We could steal a goodie bag from our election night party.
Yeah.
We could. That goodie bag is getting goodier all the time.
Hey, who is she? The woman who pulled out a gun and fired a shot in a Target during an argument with another shopper. She has been identified. I've got that and so much more coming up at 9 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTS.
And the loser wins a date with the gun-toting
there you go.
Target
Oh, there you go. That's exactly what we could do. Sure.
Right on.
All right. 8:54, Nashville's Morning News. Chris, I'm not going to ask what you have coming up because we're running really late. Now.
Just know it's going to be fun.
It'll be fun. Please tell me you have Tucker audio.
Oh, I do.
Okay. Now is the best time to tackle the backyard project. Moon Valley Nurseries is celebrating the fall harvest by bringing you the savings. Moon Valley Nurseries is hosting their biggest sale of the season with 60% off selected trees and plants. Take advantage of 60% off trees and plants now through Sunday, October 27th. That is this Sunday. Available at your local Moon Valley Nurseries location. Locally grown trees are arriving daily and ready to be delivered to you. They design, deliver, and plant, and you get to enjoy designed, delivered, planted. Guaranteed. Find them online. It's moonvalleynurseries.com/fall sales event. That's moonvalleynurseries.com/sales fall event.